Because I want to showcase to you Copilot in my teams as well. One of the major features of Copilot in Teams is the ability to actually start transcribing whatever I'm talking about, so that if you rejoin this meeting or people who join in late, right, you can, even if you have Copilot installed part of your Teams, you can actually go and start asking Copilot, what did I miss earlier, you know? So joining Teams meeting late is no longer an issue, right? So this is actually part of the things that what I intend to do, intend to show you, right? But those of you who are looking at, I'm not so sure whether you can see my transcript, but as I am speaking, the transcription is being done. You know, I have my transcript screen here. If you can see this here, just give me a moment. There's my transcript screen here, as you can see. And as I am talking, right, live, real time, the transcription is being done, as you can see in this window. Okay, so this transcription, it's just, I'm not so sure whether it's available for you all, but this will serve as the base for how Copilot will work. Okay, even during or after the meeting. Okay. So anyway, I've dismissed my transcription screen just right now. And let me just talk a little bit about the history of Copilot, or an overview first, okay? The evolution of Copilot. Now, based on what I have known, okay, and those of you who have may not or may have heard of Copilot. Now, actually, Microsoft used the word Copilot, the brand of Copilot started with GitHub. Those of you who are from technical background, who uses GitHub as your code base or repository, you should know that Microsoft first started the word Copilot on GitHub. All right, but then, you know, that Copilot on GitHub is just as a programming pair with and all that. So they use it, okay, as some form of convenience or an assistant to a developer. But very soon, as early as last year, February, okay, Microsoft actually introduced Bing Chat, right, and Bing Chat Enterprise. That was what Satya Nadella stepped to the stage and announced the availability of Bing Chat and Bing Chat Enterprise. So as you guys should have known by now, I don't need to tell you the whole lot story of where Microsoft invested in OpenAI. Right, Microsoft owned 49% of OpenAI shares and has full access, unlimited access to its technology, especially GPT. Okay, and of course, using having the ability, okay, to gain access to GPT, Microsoft took that technology and built what we call as Bing Chat. Right, and but slowly, okay, since February, all right, all the way until November. Now, Microsoft actually announced the rebranding of Bing Chat to Copilot in November last year. Okay, just exactly when OpenAI celebrated its first birthday. Okay, so very slowly you will see that Bing Chat is being renamed to Copilot. As you can see on my screen, I'm on Bing.com. It says Microsoft Bing here. Last time this used to be called Chat, but today it has been replaced with Copilot, as you can see, this button. Now, it may appear to you, or it may not appear to you right now. Those of you, right, who are on the free, you know that Bing Chat is free. Okay, there are two versions of that. Bing Chat Enterprise has been rebranded as Copilot Pro, where you have to pay. Okay, that's the equivalent $20 per month, equivalent to ChatGPT Plus. But Bing Chat Free, which is today Copilot Free, right, which is I'm on it right now. You can see that the Bing brand is slowly being replaced. It used to be that stupid B, the the blue color B for Bing, has been replaced with this Copilot logo, right? As you can see here and here. All right. Now this is starting whereby a lot of confusion. You know, it confuses me until today, because on how Microsoft actually rebrands things and at the same time keeping the old legacy ones, which they are running, you know, parallelly. Now, it is not just me, you know, you can read all about it up on the internet, okay, where everybody just says it confuses. Microsoft always confuses people. right? When you do not do a graceful rebranding, but at the same time, you maintain the old one and also Copilot. Now, let me show you an example. I'm on Bing.com. When I click on this logo or here Copilot, it launches my Copilot, which is ultimately supposed to be Bing Chat, right? So we can see that everything has been Copilot here and with Bing. As you can see, the small b is so pathetically small right now there. And I can tell you Microsoft's direction is to slowly eliminate Bing branding because Bing hasn't been a good branding since last time when they introduced. Google has been on the limelight and Bing is, I don't know whether it's Bing or Bong, but it's just not working. So Microsoft says that, okay, well, Copilot is going to replace everything. Now, at the same time, when I'm here, let me launch a new tab. I can go to copilot.microsoft.com, and it's the same thing, right? But anyway, let me just, because I signed into my work account, and now this is actually my personal account. So this is Copilot free. As you can see here and here, you see, if I switch very fast, right, except for the color. Other than that, right, as you can see, the new Copilot doesn't even have a background gradient color. But the Bing, used to be Bing.com, has the smooth gradient color. I like this coloring better, right? But let's minus off the background color, but it's the same thing, as you can see. It's just that now in Bing, I can go back to search. But in Copilot, you are practically on the bot itself, only on the chat bot, okay? And when you scroll up and down, it's just this. But if you're on Bing, when you scroll down, you can see you directly go into the normal search. And if you scroll up again, it transitions into Copilot. It's just that, you see, right? Other than that, well, it's the same thing, okay? So this is whereby people get confused whether what am I doing? You know, Bing.com, I have the same Copilot, and now they have a dedicated new URL called copilot.microsoft.com. So where should I go to? It's the same thing. Okay. Whatever you chat in Bing.com Copilot here, your history will synchronize with the Copilot, the new URL. Look at that. I did a search on Bing AI, so they thought that I've got a conversation about what is Bing AI. Now, if I switch over to Copilot here, you can see that the history just synchronizes. And you know what? Overnight, I just don't know why that Microsoft actually launched custom GPTs in Copilot, but suddenly they removed it because as I have known just like a couple of days back, I think they removed it over the weekend. I don't know why. But last week on Friday itself, right, I saw, oh yeah, they have actually exposed custom GPT. The custom GPT, as in, if I'm not mistaken, right below this recent activity, the recent activity or your history is pushed down somewhere around here. Now, on top of it here, you can see that you can switch between the normal Copilot with designer, with the trainer or fitness advisor, with the cooking assistant, and a couple more like even travel planner. These are the few custom GPTs because Microsoft is going to announce very soon the ability to do custom GPT to build yourself. They're going to launch a Copilot builder, right, which is coming very soon. I think somewhere around middle of this year. They say they have it planned by May or June, actually. Okay, that was what they announced last Friday. And because of that, over the weekend, they eliminated that. But the Copilot mobile, whether you downloaded it from the Play Store or your App Store on iPhone, you can see that on the sidebar, right, it can show that so-called custom GPT is still there, you know. I launched my mobile app, right, and it is still there. But on the website, it has been taken away, right? I have tried to sign out and sign back in, and it is still the same. Okay. So you guys know that every time any feature that you seem to be, hey, how come my colleague has it, but how come I don't have it? Well, what you can do is you can sign out and sign in again to refresh. That's what I always have been doing in my ChatGPT. When ChatGPT, OpenAI announced that there's the general availability of this feature, I just need to sign out and sign in. For example, those of you who have been following ChatGPT's news, the latest feature release was GPT mention, right? Whereby you can use the @ mention and you can actually add and tag other custom GPTs into a conversation and you can use them as an agent. But this is only available if you pay. for ChatGPT Plus. Okay, but like I say, Copilot, right, has actually stolen a lot of limelight from ChatGPT Plus, especially. Now, let's talk about the Copilot free. Whatever that we need to pay in ChatGPT Plus, $20 a month. I'm still on ChatGPT Plus, no doubt about it. Okay, I've invested a lot in AI. So because I train ChatGPT, and those of you who follow Generating Consulting, you know that I actually created a lot of my generative AI series courses. Okay, so ultimately you can see that the ChatGPT Plus is still very useful for me, only for one thing. Compared to Copilot today, where you don't need to pay anything, you just go and stick with Copilot free, you can gain a lot of equivalent features that ChatGPT you have to pay. For example, in Copilot free, I can also generate images. All right. Used to be powered by DALI. DALI is actually the image generation model by OpenAI, in which it is only accessible if I'm on ChatGPT Plus. So if, for example, if I launch my ChatGPT, sorry, I'm not supposed to talk about ChatGPT in this session, okay, but on my ChatGPT Plus here, in my GPT-4, I can have access to DALI, you know, which I can directly type anything here and generating an image. Now, even better today, if I say generate an image of a cat in a hat wearing, I always use this, cat in a hat holding a bat standing on a mat. Okay. Now, what you realize is that ChatGPT Plus today, when they create an image, right, they no longer give you an image grid. It used to be 4 images, one shot, then they reduced to 2, and today it's only 1, right? But the DALI powered, as you can see, I'm not kidding to you, and you can see that the way on how they interpret, you know, I say an image of a cat in a hat holding a bat. It is holding a bat, but there's a bat, you know. So the accuracy in the way on how they interpret my prompt, it's really not as good as what it is being powered on Copilot. So if on Copilot, I can do the same thing, which no hanky panky here. I'm going to copy the same prompt. I'm lazy to type there. In my Copilot, I'm just going to paste it here and run. Just a quick demo here. And you can see that Copilot still gives you an image grid of 4, you see. It's being generated, and you can see that the generation is actually pretty quick, you know, and they still give you 4, and you check out the quality first. Look at that. Yep, there is still a bat there, okay, surprisingly, because previously, okay, when I'm doing this, okay, there's no bat there. It's really holding a bat. Now, you can see that the most important thing is that they still give you an image grid of 4 images. And when you click on this, right, they're going to bring you to Image Creator. Now, this is actually the branding that I wanted to tell you. Now, those of you guys, maybe you have known this. This is used to be called Bing Image Creator, powered by DALI. But if I zoom in here, you can see the branding has changed. It says Image Creator from Designer. Now, Microsoft Designer is the free Canva equivalent tool. All right. Those of you who knows Canva, you do a lot of designing of brochures, posters, and flyers, and whatever. You use Canva, and you know, Microsoft came out with a slightly equivalent to Canva kind of tool. May not be as powerful as Canva, especially Canva has their own Magic Studio, but well, I can say that it's bravo. It's a thumbs up to Microsoft, being a company that is a bit weak on, you know, graphic designs and all that, but they came up with Designer. So Designer is now the brand that holds everything for image creation. And you can see that in terms of quality, I don't want to talk about the bat and all that, right? It is all accurate, okay? A cat holding the bat, you know, wearing a hat and standing on a mat, but it's just an extra animal bat there, right? But if you talk about the quality of the picture compared to my chat GPT here, this is a cartoonish illustration, okay? But Image Creator gave me all 4, which is photorealistic, as you can see, all right? And having said so, all right, Copilot gave me 4, ChatGPT gave me 1, okay? And of course, on top of that as well, Copilot today will give you almost most of the free features which ChatGPT Plus give you, except for one. ChatGPT allow you to upload a file, for example, CSV file or an Excel file to do data analysis. Now, this is not available yet for Copilot free, but Microsoft has announced that it is coming real soon because they have announced something called Code Interpreter, which was the same name that ChatGPT used to have when they first launched what we call as advanced data analysis today. Last time called Code Interpreter. So Microsoft is going to introduce Code Interpreter feature into Copilot. And again, it's available for free users as well. Okay, so this is something that is really, really kind of like mind-boggling, especially knowing that, hey, I am actually investing in OpenAI, 49% stake there. And at the same time, right, okay, I'm creating something on my own platform that kind of like competes directly against the company that I am investing. So I'm not so sure what is this all about. Okay, I'm not up to that level of Satya Nadella, even though I'm heading the company of German Consulting. But well, let that be set aside. But this is actually something that we can do for free right now in Copilot, and even better, if you are on Copilot and you're not on the Bing version. Now, let me point out to you something. Bing.com, the Copilot free, has everything the same, right? Okay, but look at this. When I go to the plugins, which you can turn on all plugins, for example, even search for flights and all that, open table for restaurant bookings, shopping, these are the few plugins which you can turn on. And you can maximum turn on 3 plugins at the same time, even though they give you like 5 here. Search, well, it's okay. By default, it's turned on. But you can see that they're missing one particular plugin. If I switch over to the main copilot.microsoft.com, the same plugins, they've got a new one called Sunno. Sunno today can allow you to be a songwriter, right, composer, and also a singer at the same time. You can write directly on the particular prompt here, make a song, which Sunno is supposed to be a third-party platform, Sunno.ai. I used to train this, okay, on Discord, whereby I teach people how to write, okay, your own song, right, together with the lyrics, and then you can choose a particular singer and all that. But today with Sunno, which is directly built in here, so I can turn this plugin on. Let's say I turn it on, right? Hang on, it doesn't. Let me refresh this. Sometimes it's just gets stuck there. So you can see it says you make a song with Sunno, and they give you a a sample prompt, make a pop song about a seahorse named Bubble, something like that. So if you go to plugins, Sunno, okay, now I turn it on. Now you can actually type in, let's say, for example, make a rap song, okay, sung by a female about life and money, let's say, whatever, right? So you can just send this, okay, and it will just take some time. Oh, I just type rap soon, right? I have a mistake there. But do you know what? Any typo mistakes, it is okay. They know that that was a mistake and they know how to interpret it correctly, okay? So you see that the verse came out, the lyrics is automatic, and then at the same time, after lyrics is out, they will then pass the whole lyrics to Sunno in the background, and then they're going to generate the song, as you can see. So I hope that you can hear this, but I got a problem sharing my computer sound here. I know that it's playing, but you guys can't hear it. Okay. Yeah, but that is how fast, that is how cool it is. This is a feature that not even ChatGPT Plus has it. Can you see that? And I'm on Copilot free. All right. So, well, let me just wrap up all this pricing and all this kind of feature comparing to ChatGPT. Now, because the topic is all about Copilot, I'm not going to include ChatGPT into the picture. I just want to let you guys see something about Copilot. Now, Copilot has got 3 particular versions. The Copilot free, right, whereby anyone with a Microsoft account, you can have it. You can just sign in and you can use it. Exactly what I'm doing here. All these features are available, okay? And most importantly, right, whatever you search for, because there is Bing search in the background, It can access the internet and also return to you the most up-to-date results. Okay, that's number one. Now, number two, you've got Copilot Pro. Now, Copilot Pro, what's going to be the new difference? Now, as you can see, right now, Microsoft announced Copilot Pro, which can actually integrate to a Microsoft 365. If your your Microsoft account has a Microsoft 365 home or personal, okay, that you bought the license on. And if you buy Copilot Pro for $20 extra on top of your Microsoft 365 personal or home subscription, you can get Copilot integrated to Microsoft 365 as well. But that is still branded under Copilot Pro. Now, the third version is what I am having. Now, my Copilot, I did not buy Copilot Pro. Mine is actually on Copilot for Microsoft 365 because my company's Microsoft 365 is on E3. So on top of my E3, I can now buy a license which costs me $30 a month. So Copilot Pro costs $20. All right. Copilot for Microsoft 365 costs $30. Now, November last year, Microsoft announced Copilot Pro and Copilot 365. But to my disappointment and the rest of the world as well, there is a minimum order quantity. There's a minimum seat of 300 licenses. You cannot buy one at a time, right? That was announced in November. I think announced in December, sorry. November is when they rebranded Bing Chat and Bing Chat Enterprise to Copilot. In December, all right, they announced the minimum order quantity because Microsoft Copilot is only available for Microsoft 365 Enterprise. But Enterprise they need a 300 license kind of minimum seat. You cannot buy 2 or 10 or 100. When you buy, you must buy 300. That is a whopping $9,000 a month investment. But just barely 1 month plus. They just announced this last month, January 15. I still remember that. On January 15, they announced the abolishment, the removal of the minimum $300 seat requirement, which prompts me on January 15 itself. I logged into my Microsoft 365 admin center. I checked my licenses and they immediately pop up. Now you can add on a Copilot to your account, which is, wow, I was practically jumping out of my seat. I immediately buy a license from there. Now I can buy 1 or 5 or 2 or 7, up to you, right? And it costs $30. Now, I'm based in Malaysia, all right? So it is actually going to be whereby there's a 7% tax as well, So $30 and you cannot pay monthly. You have to pay an annual commitment. So that means you have to pay one shot $360. Okay, it's not a monthly payment, it's it's a yearly thing. So $360 plus $21.60, somewhere there, because I paid $381.60. That's US dollar, all right? So that $360 US dollar is without tax. So bear that in mind. That's only for one license, yeah? So having said so, how do you see Copilot for Microsoft 365? Now, if I go back up here, right? Let me just go to my recent activity. Now, I can see my account, which is still logged into my Outlook.com, my personal account. I can switch to my work account. When I switch to my work account on my Copilot now, it says Copilot for Microsoft 365. And the whole interface kind of like changed a bit. There is no more leisure kind of thing. They do not give you the Sunno AI. You cannot say crack a joke or whatsoever. But the prompt samples here says it all. Copilot for Microsoft 365 is a real productivity assistant. So the prompts that you can quote here or you can key in here, right? It's more towards your work. For example, what's the latest from this person? You can quote, you can mention a person. Latest key points from a file. So you can search based on a file. All right. So for example, right, okay, if let's say I just type there, summarize this file, and I just put a /. Now, you see, the way on how you mentioned, you can attach a file by clicking this, or you can just put a /, and you can now look into your recently worked on file, right? You can even search for people. You can see that these are all the people working in my company. All right, and you can click on meetings. You can actually look at all the meetings, and you can try to address in the meeting and find out what's going on in there. All right, so I can go to my email, so you can see that what are the recent emails and stuff like that. Right, so this is actually something kind of cool. Like, for example, if I go to my files, summarize this file, I want to summarize, let's say, this file. Okay, maybe this one. I did this as an experiment over the weekend. So I've got a file in my OneDrive. Now, remember, one more thing is that all your files must be on the cloud, definitely. They cannot do summarization by looking or scanning files on your laptop, not saved on your hard drive. It must be on your OneDrive or SharePoint. Okay, so when I run this, this is done on my Copilot for M365. So you can see that they're trying to scan my file, which is a marketing proposal, and you can see that, well, that's the summary. Okay, they just, without having to open the file, I just ask Copilot to look into the file and tell me what is it all about. All right, and you can see that they've got citations. This is actually all called reference as a number one there. So you can expand the reference and they tell you I'm referencing this file. Well, obviously, and if you can see that this file is what they reference, if I can expand this and to tell you which sentence actually where they source it from. So that means this line here, all right, was actually sourced from or quoted from this content in the file. Okay, so this is something that what you get, okay, initially in your Copilot for M365. If I switch this back to my personal account, then it will be different. Okay, so that's actually for your leisure. All right, and you can see that I can do, all kinds of stuffs, mostly for leisure, and of course you can still do writing and all that. Okay, but it is not deeply integrated to your Microsoft 365. Okay, so this would be what are the plans that you're going to have, right? With the removal of the minimum 300 seats requirement, now everybody can actually kind of like do a head count in the company, how many of them or how many of you guys needed Copilot, which you need to access and use it day in, day out, and you can buy that amount of licenses, right? Now, without further ado, because I've got lots of things to show you. Okay, I hope that I've got enough time to show you that. Right, this is actually Copilot. Before I move on into all the Copilot for business apps, it reminded me on one thing. When you switch back to your Copilot free means I sign in with my main account, be it on Bing, okay, the one with the old Bing here, right? Or your new Copilot, you can see something new in common right now. Microsoft just announced this last week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. It's a new notebook here. Okay, Copilot has the same thing, notebook. Now, this is actually something that is really, really wild because I don't understand what is this notebook for. Okay, this notebook, right, actually, it is for you to do testing. Now, for example, when you write a prompt, if it gives you a result that is not what you wanted, you can then fine tune your prompt without having to repeat. Now, let me show you one more thing. Okay, I'll try my best to show you something. Now, this one, I'm going to use a Copilot, right? I choose more precise. Now, let's say, for example, I just say that write me, okay, okay, maybe like this, okay. Okay, yeah, write me a marketing proposal, okay, for a new drone launch, let's say. So it's going to, I switch it to more precise so that, sure, here's a basic structure. As you can see, it does a new markdown format, executive summary, blah, 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 all that, right? Now, it is able to do that even on Copilot free, okay? Right? Now, okay, there's a question. Oh, okay, again, asking for recording. Now, if you were to pay attention to the top left-hand side, you can see that there's already being recorded, right? So I've done that since early, okay? So once my production team edited the video and all that, well, of course, we are going to upload it to our YouTube, okay? So hang on. My production team is kind of busy, so they will require a lot of time to do that editing, but it will be announced, no worries. Okay, so let's get back to here, and you can see that my my marketing, so-called marketing proposal rough template is here, right? Now, let's say if I want to fine tune this, I want to actually add on something in there. So what are you going to do? You need to type again and again. Maybe you need to say, or maybe it's not a marketing proposal. I want to include timeline as well. So you have to always rewrite, and it's just like ChatGPT. Okay. So now the notebook, right, allows you to do this. Okay. Let me kind of like copy my prompt to save time. Copy this prompt and switch back to here. I can type this same thing on the left-hand side. When I run this, it's going to show me the result on the right-hand side pane here. As you can see, it's the same thing, right? It's just a rough guide. So, yep, just give it a little bit of time to come out with all that. And you can see it is not really like a chat box, you know. As you can see, whatever I send, the result is going to be on the right-hand side. But you can see on the left-hand side, I can still continue to change. Oh, maybe I did a mistake here. Write me a project plan. Maybe now I switch it to a project plan, not a proposal. I can fine tune it. Okay. And then I send again. Okay. Run this. When I run, you can see that they dismissed the earlier one and they're going to come up with the result. So let me tell you one thing. The notebook here, right? It looks something like the OpenAI playground. Okay, for those of you who are avid ChatGPT people, all right. So you should know that OpenAI, under the OpenAI platform, you have the OpenAI playground where they allow you to have something like a testing ground for you to test your prompts. If you don't like it, you can fine tune it. So the notebook is all that. Now, for technical people in this session, please take note, okay? If you are a developer especially, do not be mistaken that this notebook, wow, they have given us a notebook where I can type Python and all that. Now, no doubt, right, you can type something of a prompt to ask ChatGPT to generate Python code and all that, but this is not exactly your Python notebook. This notebook here, right, allows you to document and test all your prompts and fine tune it. As you can see, when I say project plan, they switch your project plan. And you can always fine tune it here without having to rewrite your prompt. Not like a typical prompt like this, whereby once you send it, they clear it, and then you've got to go through a conversation relay. But a notebook is like a playground, okay? And one more thing that you should realize, the normal chat session here, they only accept 4,000 characters, as you can see. That's maximum, all right? But in the notebook, it accepts a whopping 18,000 characters long. So that means, right, you can test and test and test whatever complicated or whatever prompt that you have rigorously. You can copy and paste huge amounts of text in here, right, as a reference and get Copilot to work on that with you. So that's actually the difference, right? 18,000 characters is a lot compared to the standard Copilot, whereby it only accepts 4,000 character maximum length. Okay, so if you ask me what's this notebook is all about, well, there you go. Okay, and remember, this feature is available directly here on your Copilot for free. You don't need to pay that. Remember, I'm logged into your everyday AI companion, which means that's my free account, not the Copilot for work account. If I switch to my work account, look at that, I don't even have the notebook. All right. I am only restricted to a Copilot, an assistant that is going to help me with my work files, right? Interaction with my work files, right? So that is actually how, when you switch to personal or switch to a work account, then you can see your Copilot switches here. Now, another thing, now I'm not supposed to actually jump here and there, but I would like you guys to see something on my Teams. If you have got Copilot for Microsoft 365, you should be able to see, okay, that right now I've got these two apps at the side. Okay, look at this. I've got Copilot, and suddenly I've got M365 Chat. Now, this is where the confusion again comes in. When I actually deployed my license on my account, I automatically see Copilot first, this one. Okay, it used to work wonders. We see when I click on Copilot, I have an embedded Copilot in here. But for some reason, over the weekend, it gets stuck here. You see, it's just, like beaming and it's not coming out, and I cannot type anything, right? It doesn't work. right? But M365 chat is just a chat bot that is Copilot, and it works like a DM, a direct messaging between you and Copilot. See, you can start a new conversation. It is a bot, you see. So you can do the same thing, but it doesn't show you sample prompts. It doesn't give you access to the Copilot lab, all right? But like I said, this one still work, but I don't know why Copilot, right, over the weekend, it got stuck here. And it says something went wrong, error, and this and that, right? The Copilot here, which is exactly on the web, they're supposed to show, sorry, not this one. Let me sign into my work account because that's work account, right? They're supposed to show exactly this interface embedded into your Microsoft Teams, okay? It's supposed to be this one, all right? But you see, right now, since Saturday, it has been like this, right? So I don't know why, okay? But anyway, I think Microsoft has just brought it down because of the custom co-pilots and this and that, right? So that is why, not to worry, I still have the web version. But you know what? If I run my Teams on the web, let's say I launch my Teams on the web, surprisingly, it works on the web. Hopefully, it still works now. This is my Teams Classic. That one was my Teams app, the one that I installed. This one, I'm accessing Microsoft Teams on the web. Now, on the web, look at that. I'm on Copilot. It works. You see? I switched to M365 chat. It is a bot. Okay. As usual, let me close this. This M365 chat apparently, okay, it takes a while to come out. Okay, but that's a bot. And if I switch back to my Copilot, it still works. It's just that the one on the app, right? Okay, I believe it's because I'm still on Teams Classic, because there are two apps, right, that you guys must know, especially if you're on Copilot for M365. One of them is Outlook, and the second one here right now is Teams. Whenever you see an app that has this thing, try the new Teams. Similarly to your Outlook, try the new Outlook. There are two versions of Outlook and Teams. One is called the Classic Teams or Classic Outlook, and the new Teams or new Outlook. Certain of these features require you to switch immediately to the new Outlook or new Teams because the classic one doesn't work. But apparently, I am one of those tens of thousands of people who gave a comment or a feedback to Microsoft says that, hey, come on, I hated the new Outlook, all right, because it is too streamlined. Some people like streamlining, but maybe you can call me old-fashioned, right? But I still prefer the Teams, or I'm so sorry, the Outlook Classic. So I'm still on Outlook Classic, but I don't get my Copilot in there, except for one of them, which is called Summarize, because Microsoft actually announced some of the features of Copilot being available for Classic Outlook. Because due to overwhelming people complaining, say that, hey, you cannot just force everything into the new Outlook. A lot of us are still on Outlook Classic, right? So to give you, give you an example, I will open up my Outlook. I don't mind having you guys seeing some of my mails here, all right? As you can see, I open up this mail here, Viva. So let me just open up this email. And as you can see, this is my normal Viva email, right? Now, the only thing you can see that I have is this summarize. I don't have a Copilot button anywhere here, but yet I still have this summarize. This is a Copilot feature. So when I click summarize here, you can see they are generating a summary of the email. So if you receive a long email, I can click on summarize here, and it's just going to tell you what is it all about. That's it. Okay. There are two features Microsoft announced. The first feature they announced, okay, I'll just give you summarizing emails, even though you're on Classic. This is the first one. Previously, no, you got to switch to Teams, the new new Outlook. But then they say, okay, I have decided to give you at least summarize feature for Outlook Classic. The second one, which they just announced last month, January, which is called coaching. All right, coaching you how to write an email, but I still don't find it on my end. Let me show you. If I try to go to, let me close this email. If I click new email, I don't find coaching. Maybe I click here, right click. Do I find coaching here? No. It's supposedly to be when you click on the body of an email, right? You can immediately write, and you can see that there will be a Copilot pop-up says coaching. All right. So I don't find any buttons here on coaching as well. Right, so maybe it has not been launched to me, or maybe I did not perform an update. Okay, well, who knows, right? So that is the only two features for those of you who are still on Outlook Classic. But if you like the new Outlook, you switch it over to Outlook New. Well, I can get my new Outlook by accessing Outlook on the web. Let's say, for example, if I go and launch my Outlook on the web. Hang on. I launch my Outlook on the web. As you can see, this is a new Outlook, right? Okay, so I should be able to get the Copilot feature here. For example, if let's say I go to this one, all right? As you can see that, hang on, where is the, now this is sometimes a bit confusing. So I can see that I've got this Viva Insights, you know. So if I were to open up the email, let's say, I just kind of like, maybe it's in a triple dot here. Okay, so I open up here and yeah, suddenly you see, out of embarrassment, right? I don't find my my Copilot button here whereby I can summarize or even coach. Now, this is actually sometimes very dreadful because when Microsoft actually make it appear and decided to pull it back a bit, you know, maybe they are trying to rectify some problems. So I remember seeing the Copilot button here whereby at least I can actually perform the summarize here, you know, summarizing my email as well as even coaching. I just did it over the weekend, all right? But anyway, that's the Outlook part whereby I hope that I'm supposed to be able to show you, all right? But anyway, that is actually what you can do, all right, on the slightly on Outlook and even on the Copilot for M365. Now, I would like to start with Word, all right, because I need to show Power Platform later on as well. So let's start with Copilot for Word, all right? Now, in terms of Word, I think it's going to be very easy for you guys to get to understand this, okay? What can Word do? So let me launch my Microsoft Word. Okay, I'm going to click on blank document here. Now, as you can see, once you've got Copilot built into Microsoft 365, you will see the Copilot button here, all right? And you can see this Copilot button here, all right? This is called drafting, draft with Copilot. This is the one that is really, really cool, all right? Now, I did some experimentation, okay, over the weekend, okay, whereby I already have got those files and all that, okay? But let me show you what I've actually done here. So for example, right, I can kind of get Word to help me draft something like, again, the marketing plan, let's say a marketing proposal. Let's say, write me a marketing proposal for GemRain. Let's say I launch an e-bike, okay, launch, right? And I can just click on generate here. So they're gonna immediately generate a draft here for me. Now, I don't mind telling you, okay, is that most of my writing today, right, is using Copilot, right? Especially coming out with training outlines, you know, I can just come up with an outline with a snap of finger, but of course I review and I've got to change it, right? As you can see, working on it. So as you can see, it's automatically generated directly on Word. So they're just coming out with some marketing proposal based on some fictional thing. We at GemRain is not selling e-bikes, but I'm just giving it something like an e-bike kind of thing. So we can see they come up with objectives, strategies, all right, tactics. Then you've got like budgets and all that. It's kind of slow today, you know, because over the weekend it was okay. So the budget is here. So they even gave me some form of the task that I need, and then they kind of like come up with a ballpark figure on all the budgets, you know, the timeline to launch, you know. Whoa, this is real cool, right? As you can see, right? So I'm just waiting for it to finish. Now, I'm not just going to describe all these things again, but I'm just waiting for it to finish. Once it finishes, right, you can fine tune it, okay? So as you can see, once it finishes, you can see that it tells you to keep it. You can either keep it or you can regenerate. Now, because this is the first draft, as you can see, one of one. Now, if I say I don't like it, right, I can actually just ask it to regenerate. You're going to have one of two or two of two. whereby you can switch between a few drafts. Let's say, for example, right now, I'm not going to regenerate, but I want to fine tune it. I say, make it sound hopeful. Maybe not just say hopeful. I just say, make the proposal shorter and sound enthusiastic, let's say. Okay. So it's going to refine your draft based on that. It's at the bottom here. You can drag this thing up here or wherever you like it. So as you know that a lot of Copilot features are still in preview, especially in Excel, guys, because here Copilot for Word, right, it's already generally available. But when you launch Excel, the Copilot in Excel is still branded as preview. So a lot of things are being enhanced rapidly as we speak. So you can see that they kind of like make it shorter and sound hopeful or enthusiastic. So you can see that, yep. No, this is taking too long. Actually, it is not supposed to be that long. It's supposed to be boom, 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 and then within maybe like what, under 10 seconds. Now it's taking very long. As you can see right now, well, it has ended. So this is the first proposal, and you can actually switch here. This is the first draft. This is the second draft. First draft, second draft. So you can compare. Whichever one you like it, right, you can just keep it. Okay, or you can click the trash can to eliminate it. Right. So this is actually how I created, okay, my first file earlier, which I want to show you. Let's say I delete it off. Let me show you the final document, which I've got it. It is this one. There you go. This was what I created over the weekend. So it looks like this, okay, which is saved onto my OneDrive. So remember, everything must be in OneDrive if you would like to ask questions about it. Now, remember that what you have seen just now, right, was a draft. Now, let's say I close this file. Now, I open up a new file here. I launch the Copilot on the right-hand side. This is actually the chat, the session here. Now, in the chat here, right, what you can do is write about. Now, the difference is that you can do writing here or you can do writing here. So what's going to be the difference? You see, if you ask Copilot to write about something on the box here, you can click your write about and continue, a blog or write about something. So whatever they're going to write, the result is going to be in the box. And if you like it, you just copy and paste here. But in Word, it's going to be a bit redundant because I can immediately write here. The result is going to be pasted directly on my Word document. But sometimes people are working on one file which already has content, right? And then you just want to top up, but you do not want to affect whatever you're going to have here. So you want to write something here which is not going to be sent directly into the document. Or you want to write something that affect and paste on the document directly. So there are two places where you can write. But something that impresses me, right, is, for example, now I know I've got a colleague who wrote the marketing proposal just now. Okay, let's say I am not the one who wrote that proposal. Now I know somebody wrote the proposal and stored it in SharePoint. Now I am going to come up with a new file here, which I want to write, let's say, an FAQ. Okay, I want to write an FAQ about my e-bike based on the marketing proposal. I can do that. So I want to do this. I just say write, or maybe I can ask questions. Maybe writing is all about here. Okay, let me show you this. Write an FAQ document, okay, based on, I'm going to put a / and I can choose my e-bike marketing proposal document and just generate. So what it does is that they're going to look into my marketing proposal file, and according to the file, they're going to output some common FAQs, and that's how I draft my FAQ here. So you can see that they use combing through your info, and then pulling things together. They always like to use these kind of messages. As you can see, yep, they are coming out. This one, I'm just going to put it aside here. Now, as you can see, when contents start coming out, right, on the right-hand side, this panel here, right, they also updated. Okay, just now they only show me a suggestion of write about. Now you can see you could change, you could summarize, you could ask question. This is actually kind of cool because it is at the same time right? Monitoring your documents content. So we can see these are all sample FAQs about the e-bike. So based on their knowledge about e-bikes, so there's like, what are genuine e-bikes? Why should I buy a genuine e-bike? How can I order? What is the marketing proposal for e-bike launch? Oh, this one is not supposed to be there, right? Because it's an FAQ. So we can see that, okay, let's say I like this one, but let's say, let me try this. I do not want the last FAQ, okay? Eliminate the last point, okay? Oh, actually, you know what? This is where I did a mistake. I should not have actually refined it here. If I want to lose the last point, I should have done it on the chatbot, right? But anyway, I did not accept it there yet. So we can see that they're trying to redraft everything from the start. I should have actually kept it. And then on the right-hand side, the chatbot here, I just say that, can you please eliminate the last point? Okay. So let me see whether they are able to really eliminate the last point. No, as you can see, it is still coming out with this. So they cannot they cannot actually identify this as the last point. Okay. So, but anyway, I'm good with that. I'm just going to keep it. Let's say I keep it. And this is the FAQ, right? So you can see that I can summarize, I can change. As you can see, change something. Okay. So let's say, if I can say delete, I don't say eliminate, delete the last point. Let's see whether I can do this. Sorry, I don't know a way to do that. Okay, so maybe right now, let's say what is the changing? I think is only on the formatting, but not so much on that, because changing and deleting and all that, right, might be only applicable to the Excel portion. But I remember that one of the videos, okay, that I've actually seen during the launch, they are able to eliminate the last point here, the last section, or maybe it's called a section. Okay, delete the last section of the on this document. As you can see, the prompt is also very, very important, even though it is natural language. Since I'm a prompt engineer, so that is also for me, okay, my point, okay, to actually highlight to you that the importance of prompt engineering, right? So as you can see, still it doesn't know how to do that. I can only do changing, like for example, changing the font size, or maybe changing the font. For example, I say change the font to Comic Sans. Comic Sans. Let's see. Let's see whether that works. I remember that changing formatting, this and that. They will tell me you can find the font feature and all that, but are they able to change everything for me? Usually this long, right? It doesn't say almost there. They're just giving you blank hope sometimes. It's taking a bit too long today. On a Saturday and Sunday, right? It was really, really fast. Just changing your font, come on. I doubt that it's going to be able to do it because it's taking too long. Okay, but anyway, you can actually ask questions as in summarizing and what's there, because they have got some of these particular suggestions for you. Sometimes when you finish a prompt, there are also valuable suggestions at the bottom. You can ask questions like, what is it in for you and this and that, right? So maybe I could just stop generating. As you can see, what's the purpose of the dog? Is there a call to action? So let me just ask a question like, for example, what would be the total budget? Let's say I'm kind of like lazy to read the whole thing. I just ask, what would be the total budget? Let's see whether you can find this. Okay, while waiting for this, I do not want to waste time here, okay? Yeah, okay. See, this response isn't based on the document. The document does not provide information on the total budget. Oh man, it says that there's one reference here. When I click on this, it says the marketing proposal. Isn't there a budget? Oh yeah, correct. I forgotten. This is not the proposal. This is a FAQ, right? Yeah. So I opened up the wrong file. Okay. Anyway, if we were to look at the file, let's say for example, let me reopen my marketing proposal. This was my marketing proposal just now. If I will launch my Copilot, now I'm just going to ask, for example, what is the total budget we are looking at? Okay. So things about Copilot chatbot here, this panel here, right? Rather than just manipulating and changing things, it's just like if you are opening up, let's say, 100-page Word document, and you are just kind of like lazy to run through it, and maybe all this while without Copilot, we used to do a Control F, find a particular word and then just jump into the page. But right now you can just talk to Copilot and just get Copilot to tell you the answer. So as you can see, it says the total marketing budget for this e-bike launch is 1.5 million. So you say, are you sure? If you're not actually trusting the Copilot, there is a citation. So when you click on the citation, they jump you into that location. As you can see, e-bike launch is estimated. So you do not know where is it, you just click on again, they will highlight to you, here it goes. Okay, so that is actually what you can do, right? And I can also ask questions such as list the top two most highest top two highest budget in this proposal. Because in the budget there is a breakdown, so I just want to I just want Copilot to show me the top two highest budget. Okay, as you can see, events with a budget of $400,000, accounting for 26.7%. And the next one, number 2, is online advertising and influencer marketing, both tied to 20%. Is it true? Let me click on jump to the citation. Yep, there you go. Online advertising, right? It says events with a budget. Oh yeah, events is here because it's not sorted, right? So out of all this, events is number 1, 26.7%. The other two will be tied. 200,000. Sorry, what was it? 300,000. Influencer marketing and online advertising. 300,000 here, 300,000 here, tied at 20%. So which is correct? Okay. So all in all, what you can see here, the Copilot inside Word, right? It's actually like a GPT running inside each of a Word document and using the content of a Word document as its knowledge base. That's it. Okay. Similarly, every Copilot running on different tools, for example, Copilot running on Excel. And if you open up an Excel file and it is just using Excel as the knowledge base, they're just going to understand all your data spread out across your spreadsheet in Excel and use it as a knowledge base. But what more can be done on Copilot? It's quite impressive because it can calculate, it can perform formulas, suggestions, and even calculate for you and analyze the data for you. Okay, so Word is all about that. Okay, as whereby I've got a marketing proposal, I can write an FAQ, right? And you know what? Based on the FAQ here, I can even maybe come up with a user manual because I'm launching a product. So I can actually use the FAQ to write a user manual. So I can just close this. Let's say I'm not going to save this. This is actually saved, right? And if I were to launch one last thing on Word, just to show you that, okay, I'm just going to say, write me a user manual, okay, based on / again, the FAQ, but I cannot find the FAQ here, so I'm just going to do the FAQ. There you go. So they're going to search, and I can see generate e-bike FAQ document. It's going to generate. So they read the FAQ, and then they just generate a user manual, all right? So you know what's going to happen. It's just going to automatically come out from the background, okay? Now, without further wasting the time, as you can see, that's the user manual. I would like to also talk about Excel right now. Now, something that you need to understand about Excel, okay, whereby Copilot is embedded if you pay for the $30 a month for Copilot for M365. So if I were to launch my Excel right now, okay, on. So I just start with a blank workbook. Now you can see that once in my Excel, my Copilot button is disabled. Now remember, Copilot on Excel, right, is not like Word whereby you've got somewhere in the middle of your spreadsheet whereby there's a helper or an assistant, but it's just the Copilot panel. See, it's disabled. Now, one thing for sure you can see this. Let me just zoom in for you. Okay. Now, if you point to it, right, it says here, using Copilot, right, it only works with files stored in OneDrive or SharePoint. That's it. Because I haven't actually saved the file and the file doesn't have anything. Now, I'm not just going to show you step by step, but I'm just going to actually highlight to you. Now, Copilot will only work if your spreadsheet has a table. Now, even if, let's say, for example, if I start writing something here, for example, let me zoom in so you can see better. I start with customer ID and I got a name. I've got maybe straight away value. I don't know what's just going on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got, let's say, Ahmad, I've got Kumar, I've got Akyong, I've got Michelle, let's say. So the value, I've got 1,000, I've got 2,000, and let's say I want it to be incremented like this. So as you can see, even though I've got this so-called data, Copilot is not there yet. Oh, so maybe I have to save it into OneDrive. Okay, fine. I'm just going to save this into my OneDrive. Okay, let's say I'm going to save it into my OneDrive location. I've got a Copilot folder. I'm going to save it here. I'm going to call it sample. Okay, I have saved it into my OneDrive, but yet Copilot is not there for me. Now, you know what? I painfully actually found out that you need to have a table. Okay, fine. Control A, Control T, Enter. I convert it into a table. So you must have a table. You cannot have data which is not formatted as a table. So now I've got a table. Now I go back to home. Nope. Copilot is also not there yet. So what's wrong? You know, I'm on OneDrive and I've got a table. So actually I found out, which I also giggled, even though it is painful. I found out that Copilot doesn't work if your file has got no autosave on. It is really weird. I don't know why. Word and all that, right? You can have autosave off. But watch this, guys. When I turn autosave on, I've got Copilot there. Duh. There you go. See that? And I told you, Copilot in Excel is still preview. Word Copilot is not preview. You see, when I turn off autosave, they will tell me, I only work with files that have autosave turned on. Turn it on to continue. Look at that, which is a bit weird, you know. So this is only applicable to Excel. And since Excel is still in preview, you will see that sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes it will tell you that Copilot for Excel is still in preview. It is still being rapidly developed, you know, so, you know, things will change. They will give you this kind of warning, all right? So when I go out of it here, there's nothing. As you can see, I told you, Copilot only works with table data. If you're outside here, it doesn't really help you in anything. So you can see that I only work with an Excel table. So I put my cursor in the table, then they can understand the table. All right. So now this table is just so nothing really good about it. Let me open another table to show you. Okay. So if I were to open up one of my file, which I've got a sample file here. So I got this. This is a very general financial sample file used in Power BI. Okay, this is actually the official Power BI sample file that Microsoft uses. All right. As you can see, these are all my data here. Okay. Okay. There's a question. Can you share with us again how to make the Copilot appear in Excel? Now, again, I presume that you already have Copilot for Microsoft 365 subscription, yeah? Okay, so if you have that in your Excel, remember, number one, your file must be saved in either SharePoint or your OneDrive. That's number one. Number two, your cursor must be inside a table. You see, this is a table. It must be Control A, formatted as a table. Cannot be a loose range, right? But if it's still not appearing here, it's still disabled. For example, it's it's kind of like disabled, right? Because your autosave is off. You see, if I off my autosave, the Copilot button is disabled. All right. If you say that no, my whole Copilot button is not there, that means you don't have Copilot license, right? This is only applicable if you have paid the $30 a month Copilot for Microsoft 365. If you know that your organization already deployed Copilot for Microsoft 365 and you are one of the recipient of the license, you can see in my case, like mine, the Copilot button is there but disabled, gray out. Make sure you turn on autosave. That's it. That's one of the stupidest requirements that I've ever heard. All right, because Word doesn't require that. You see, my Word, I've got my Copilot on, even though I don't have autosave. You see, the only thing that I work with cloud documents is I don't like autosave. I don't know about you, because this is a personal preference. Okay, autosave for me sounds very dangerous sometimes, because sometimes I write too fast and this and that. I do not want to automatically and immediately save all I have done. Sometimes I may draft something that is a mistake which I intend to delete later. So I like to autosave, turn it off. All right. But in Excel Copilot, for it to work, you've got no choice but autosave must be on. Okay. So that's the only requirement. And to really show you what can be done on my Excel Copilot, let's say, for example, these are all my data that you can see here. Let me just kind of like zoom in a bit. All right. So what I can do here is to show you, for example, I launched my Copilot. They've got some sample prompts for you. All right, as you can see, add formula, highlight, sort and filter, analyze. These are the things that it gives you an idea what Copilot can do. Now, you can see that there's this thing as well, prompt guide. So when you click on prompt guide, see, this is exactly what they have done. They've came out here, right? These are just a prompt guide. Now, this prompt guide allows you to, for example, when you click add formula columns, let's say, when I click on add formula columns, so you can see that I can quickly add new columns, select a suggested prompt. So these are the suggestions. They can say add a column that combines product and discount band, or add a column to compare sales and COGS. As you can see, these are just suggestions. All right. So, but in my case, I will just say change topic. I don't want this. I will tell you to write the column right now. I will say add a column named profit. I just say add a column named profit, right? But I don't even tell it what multiply and what, or what column subtract what column. I just say add a column named profit, okay? But maybe I can even shorten this. Add a column for profit. Let's see whether they can understand my prompt. When you go into Copilot, right, it seems like very, very little prompt engineering knowledge is needed. But surprisingly, if you were to talk about drafting something, writing something, you still need your prompt engineering. As you can see here, look at that. Add a column for profit. And it says, sorry, I cannot do that. Rewrite your request. Can you see that? And it is like you still need to write in proper language, proper prompting. Okay. So as you can see here, show suggestion for formula columns. So if you do not know how to write this, you can say show suggestion. Let's see, one of the suggestions is profit. Okay, because I think profit, I do have it already. I've forgotten. I want a profit margin actually. Because I've got profit already. I realized that I've got sales, I've got COGS, right? And also profit here. So as you can see there, profit margin. They suggested profit margin. Thank you so much. If this is what you want, I just click on insert column. There you go. But you see, when you click insert column, look at the mistake that they've done. They have shown you just the notation here, which is I'll just undo it. You can click undo, right? What they have done, because the way on how that profit margin works is not to your liking. Okay, so let me just delete this. So again, you say that done. I have undid my last action. Let me just write myself. Okay, add a profit margin column. Okay, instead of applying their suggestion. Because what they applied is that the formula has an @ sign in there which disrupts the formula. So Still running that. So bear in mind, okay, for those of you who got that, as you can see there, profit divided by sales, but they still have that at sign there, so they got a way to even explain to the formula. But right now, I would like to click on this. As you can see, when I click on or a point and point, you can see that they give you a shadow, all right? They gave you a shadow showing, okay, the suggested column here, all right? So if you hover your mouse, it will show you, right? So if you really want it to be, then you click on it. But again, I don't know why that is showing me that. It's supposedly to be showing the value. It works for me. How come today it doesn't work? It's really weird here, okay? But anyway, I would like to also show you one more thing. There is this thing called Show Data Insights. When I click on Show Data Insights, they are going to scan the entire table and suggest to you what are the key insights that can be built from this table. It is just really weird. So there you go. COGS by date, there's one of their suggestions. If you want more suggestion, right, okay, you can actually say add it to a page. So as you can see, here's an insight I found. The COGS by date is shown in a pivot chart, for example, this and that, right? So you can say add to a new sheet. If you want it to be, you can click add to a new sheet. So they open a new sheet, they give you the pivot chart and the pivot table, just like that. Okay. So I can say go back to the table. All right. So it goes back to the table. And you can even ask one more questions, right? Like, for example, you want to build a chart. Let's say insert a chart, maybe a column chart comparing sales for year 2013 and year 2014, let's say, for example. And let's see whether it can do this or not. Honestly speaking, I feel something really weird about the behavior of Copilot today compared to yesterday. Sorry, yesterday was Sunday. Comparing on Saturday, which I was experimenting. Okay, so there you go. It does able to show me this sales by year for year 2013 or 2014 comparison in a column chart. And if you like it, you just click on, there you go. They even have an explanation for you. And if you like it, just click add to a new sheet. So a new sheet came out, okay, together with the pivot table. All right. So this is actually something what you can do with your Copilot for Excel, right? But something that is also a bit that you need to understand, okay, especially working with Excel Copilot. Now, what if I close this file? When I relaunch a new Excel blank worksheet or workbook, let's say I launch a blank workbook, of course, Copilot is not going to be available, not until you key in some data and all that, right? Okay, so why not I reopen a file? Remember my sample file earlier? The sample file which I stored. There you go. This was the sample file earlier. Now, when I open up my Copilot, good. It is blank. There's nothing there, right? Okay. What if I reopen my financial sample just now? I reopen it again. This is my okay. As you can see, when I reopen this, now I launch Copilot. You can see Copilot maintains historical data, your historical interaction. All your interaction will be kept forever in this file. And you know what? I was fumbling around. Where can I right click, or is there a way for me to clear history? Because it's like, it's going to be a bit weird, as you can see. Can you imagine this? Now, this file, I'm going to share it to my colleague. Okay. And both myself and my colleague, we do have the Copilot license. So when I give this file over to my colleague opens this file. When he or she clicks the Copilot button, he or she would be able to see all the interactions that I have made on this file. All right. So this is actually something that is going to be need to be addressed by Microsoft. But I actually asked Microsoft, and Microsoft says that, well, interaction history is not going to be transferred from one person to another person. Even though the file, okay, it's saved on, let's say, OneDrive, and you share the file with your colleague has his or her own Copilot. But Copilot interaction history are maintained from one account to another account. So when he or she opens your file, but when they launch the Copilot panel, they will not be able to see the same interaction history as what I have. So that actually comforted me. But in my case, sometimes I want to clear the history where I can't. Some of you might think, hey, what about clicking change topic? When you click change topic, it will refresh itself. You everybody will think that it's going to be like the web Copilot. You know, the web Copilot, for example, just now, this was my history earlier. If I want a new one, right, I just click on new topic. Remember, new chat. When I click new chat, as you can see, all the history is gone because the histories are saved per session. But remember, in a file, your history is kept together with your account. So I found out, okay, that you can clear history, right, in one place. Let me show you right now. I found this also through hard work. So I just go on to my office.com. I need to go to my account actually. All right, so welcome back. Let me sign into my Office 365. Okay, I'll just need to go to my account here. I just click on view my account. I go to myaccount.microsoft.com. Now, under my account, the privacy, security and privacy. See, next, settings and privacy. I click on settings and privacy. This is per account. So now I get why Microsoft says it's per account. So under settings and privacy and under the tab of privacy, I can see now Copilot interaction history. So when I click on Copilot interaction history, this is where I delete history. But too bad, when I click on delete history, it does not give me the ability to delete app by app. You see, when I click on delete history, it says includes everything. So what if I want to delete only my interaction history with Excel but not Word, or Word and not Excel? You can't do that. I'm so sorry. Okay. I just need to tick this, and when you delete, it deletes every interaction history with you and all Copilots one shot. So when I click delete here, it says it will take a while, it might take some time, so but it is deleted. It is kind of real time though, right? So that's where you delete your history. That's what I found out, right? So back to my Copilot here, this Excel file. Let me close my Excel file. Now let me try to relaunch my Excel file again, the financial sample. Let's see whether the history is still there. If it's still there, means it's slow. Click on Copilot. And yep, it is fast. There you go. No more. Okay, it's gone. So that is how you delete the interaction history. A lot of people don't really know how to clear the history, but too bad that Microsoft does not give individual app destruction of the interaction history. Okay. So these are some of the things again that earlier what you can do right now, and sort and filtering. Now, yeah, one more thing that I can show in Excel, since I'm still in here in Excel. Now, let's say, for example, I've got sales here right now. What I can do is I can do this. Sort by sales, or maybe talk about profit. I want to sort by the profit column. Profit in ascending order. If you want to give the column a name, you got to use a single quote. Right? All column names is in single quote. As you can see, if I zoom in, right, you can see I pointed to sort by profit in single quote. All right. So right now it's not sorted by profit. So right now, as you can see, in ascending order. So I purposely put in ascending order. See all that losses here. Okay, it is done. And I can now say, now switch to descending order. Can I proceed without having to repeat myself? Sort by profit in descending order. Let's say I'm going to try now switch to descending order. Let's see whether this is really ChatGPT look-alike, where I can continue my conversation as per a bot, what a bot does. Yep, it does. Look at that. It's powerful. I don't need to repeat myself. Sort by profit in descending order. I just say now switch to descending order. So now it's switched to descending order, right? And I can do this. Highlight or maybe apply You have to know all these keywords, there are certain keywords in the prompt, okay? So apply a yellow background color to the top 10 highest profit value. You can actually ask it to even apply an icon to indicate those which are negative and stuff like that. So yeah, see, they say it's making changes to a table. There you go. Perfect. Immediately highlighted top 10, right? So these are things that, as a glimpse, what you can do with your Copilot in Excel. Even though it's preview, but yeah, sparingly, it is still behaving beautifully. At least, it doesn't really embarrass me right now in this webinar. Even though there are some hiccups here and there, but well, this is common, right, for Copilot, which is still being rapidly reviewed. So as you can see, even when you click the drop down here and you click on Help, they will tell you this. Okay, get started or something like that. There is actually somewhere there in the help, right? Okay, they will tell you and warn you that I'm not going to read through the help. They will warn you that Copilot in Excel is still in preview and it is being rapidly enhanced. So expect outages or even which is some what do you call that, discrepancies there, okay, or some anomalies. So that's actually our Excel. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to PowerPoint. Okay, switch over to PowerPoint. Now, I'm going to close this. Okay, let's talk about PowerPoint. PowerPoint is going to be interesting, it's actually kind of interesting. I'm going to start with a blank presentation. Now, for those of you who have gone through who have followed my ChatGPT training before, I do believe I have actually shown I covered before in my ChatGPT class, whereby I taught people how to actually create automatically a PowerPoint presentation in ChatGPT, where I get ChatGPT, I write a prompt to get ChatGPT to generate a VBA macro. Okay, so that I copy and paste the VBA macro into the back end and I run the macro, then only the PowerPoint presentation, all the slides will come out. Now that was very, very yesterday, okay? Because if you have Copilot for PowerPoint, here's the button. And again, you see, Copilot and for PowerPoint and Word is not as stringent and not so strict like Excel, where you need to turn on autosave and this and that, right? But well, too bad, you should know that Excel is dealing with lots of data, numbers and all that. So I think it's logical to speak here to say that there are a little bit more stringent requirements to turn on Copilot. Now, Copilot in PowerPoint, right, you can now create a presentation just like that. Okay, without having to go into ChatGPT, write a VBA macro and blah, 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 right? Or even you can use so many third-party tools out there today like Gamma, Dectopus, Beautiful AI, there are so many third-party platforms out there. Okay, all talk about auto AI presentation, slides creation and all that. But since, for those of you who are avid PowerPoint people, right, so you can use this, okay? Now, let me show you. I can say create a presentation. Okay, about what? You can actually pluck something out from the sky. So create a presentation. Let me talk about this. I can say from a file. I should have actually clicked create a presentation from a file. Now, when you click presentation from a file, you see they automatically put a slash and you can choose Word documents. Now, so far, Microsoft says that Copilot for PowerPoint can only create a PowerPoint from Word document, not PDF or anything else. But work is underway to to expose more file types. Right now, it's only Word documents. So, for example, you can see that my Copilot webinar now, I do not show you any PowerPoint slides. So what if, right? You can see that I've got my Microsoft Copilot Revolution Clinic. This is the webinars modules, all my so-called topics. I can choose this Word document. So I'm going to ask Copilot, right, to refer to my Word document. The Word document looks like this. This is actually my outline. Okay, look at that. So I'm actually asking Copilot right now to go and create a presentation slide based on this Word document. So let's see how it will look like right now. Oops, sorry. Can't split this over. So pulling things together, finding your file, blah, 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 drafting a presentation. Ooh, okay, cool. As you can see, they can see my outline for my presentation. They're able to read right now, showing me the output from my file in the Word document. Now they're generating the slides. So today, can you imagine, right? You've got a project plan paper, you've got a marketing proposal, you've got whatever, right? And you want to immediately generate a presentation slides. You can do it in minutes, just like that. So let's say, for example, it's last minute, and the presentation to, let's say, to the management, it's going to be starting in 10 minutes. You've got only final 10 minutes, and you don't have a PowerPoint slide, so you can do this. As you can see, there we go. They apply a standard layout. So as you can see, these are my agenda, and they have just used my Word document with the content and generated a PowerPoint slide. Well, of course, you can do refinement. Like you say, oh, what kind of font is that? Oh, I feel like I want to vomit. That font looks ugly. So what I'm going to do, change the font, okay, to Segoe UI. Enter. Let's see whether they can change the font to Segoe UI. Okay, here we go. They say that the font has been changed to Segoe UI. No, this is not Segoe UI. Okay, I think I need to tell it once more. Change the font for all slides to Segoe UI. Because the title, everything is not in Segoe UI. No, this is not. Okay, let's see. This is Segoe UI, it's correct. But the title is not in Segoe UI. So maybe I need to really say it's the title. Okay, now change all the titles to Segoe UI. Bold. Okay, I put it bold there. Okay, so while waiting for this, let me just try to look at some questions here. Are these desktop applications need different or additional Copilot license? Yes, of course, Sangeeta. Yes, absolutely. Like I said, that on top of your Microsoft 365 that you have installed, that you have paid, your company has paid, your company need to pay extra $30 a month for per user, which you cannot pay per month. It costs you an annual commitment, 380 over US dollar a month, a year for one user. So 10 user is 3,800 over dollars, including taxes. Yeah, excluding taxes is 360 US dollar a year. Okay. So that's for one user. So if 10 users, right, it will be 3,600 US dollar, excluding taxes. This is actually extra, right? You see all what I am showing you right now. Okay, it costs me. I don't have a trial, even though I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. They never provide a trainer free license for that. I gotta pay, man. Okay. As one license for one user or tenant base, it's one license for one user is per user. So in your administrator, your Microsoft 365 admin, he need to pay for 10 license, then assign one by one license to each of the account in your tenancy. Okay. So is payment required for Copilot to appear in PowerPoint? Well, like I say, you just buy Copilot for Microsoft 365, one license, you paid already, and the license acquired to you. All you need to do, right, is any of your Microsoft Office apps. Go to File, you click on Update License here. You see, when you click Update License, you need to sign in to verify. When you sign in with your account, this is like activating Office, you see. So I sign in with my, I actually don't need to do this. Anyway, let me close it, okay? Just sign in, okay? And then they will just update the license and make sure your license like this. You see, my license is Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise. I'm on E3, but because I have applied myself with the Copilot license, automatically the feature, the Copilot button will automatically appear. The Copilot will appear here, right? So that's how you activate it. Okay. So it's not just that you have to buy one Copilot for Excel, one Copilot for for PowerPoint. No, Copilot is only one license. All right, and well, since you guys are asking, I don't mind showing you since I'm the administrator myself in my company. So I go to my office, my Microsoft 365 admin center. If I go to my, you can see Copilot is here. I've got a new Copilot here. There I've got, I only bought one license for my training usage. So I got 0 out of 1 license available. So you can see these are all my Copilot settings. So I just deploy to myself and I've got all that. So if you look at the users, hang on, in my users itself, I go and select myself. That's my name there. And if I go to my licenses and apps, you can see my Copilot for Microsoft 365. I've got 1 licenses, which I reassign to myself, right? And based on this Copilot for Microsoft 365, I will have all the apps. For example, there is this Microsoft Copilot in Microsoft Teams. I've got Microsoft Copilot, the chat, right? And also Microsoft Copilot for the business apps, which is somewhere around here, okay? So this is actually something that you will get is per license, per user, okay? All right, guys, questions about your license? Well, that's it, all right? Just only need to pay for 1 license and you get everything there, okay? So it says all titles have been changed to Segui UI bold font, which I cannot see that is Segui UI bold. This is not Segui UI. As you can see, it's Mincho. This is actually still Gothic and all that. So it doesn't really work today. I don't know why. It's supposed to be able to quickly, change the presentation, right? Just like that. But anyway, as you can see, it is so easy for us to create a PowerPoint presentation today, just based on a file. But you guys might be thinking, how am I going to create a PowerPoint presentation out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere. So let's say I go to File. I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save. Let me create a brand new blank presentation again. So let's say out of nowhere, right? I click on Copilot. Okay. From here, you can see some suggestions. Now, one more thing that I reminded myself before I forget. Luckily, I don't forget right now. Before I forget, I want to talk about this. Since I've shown Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, now it's PowerPoint, right? Sometimes when you write your prompts, these are some suggestions, right? Do you happen to see this view prompt? Even in Word, right, you've got the same thing. If I launch the Copilot panel at the side, you can see this view prompt. Okay, now this view prompt thingy, right, it's known as a Copilot lab. When you click on view prompt, you can see these are the 3 types of prompts supported by Copilot. You can see create, you can do edit, you can ask. You see when, like, for example, editing, you can say add an image. You can ask Copilot to add an image, right? Or you can ask question about the Copilot. Like say, how can Copilot help? These are some examples. But if you want to view the full library of all the prompts available, view more prompts, they will pop up the Copilot lab. The Copilot lab, right, is like a brief, simplified prompts available by Microsoft. This is acting like a prompt library for Copilot. Now, as a true prompt engineer myself, I find that the prompts are really just very basic, very brief, right? It's not entirely what I've learned, and what you can write in your ChatGPT, let's say. But promised by Microsoft, when you work with Copilot, you don't need to write very, very complicated prompts unless you're talking to the Copilot chat. Okay, but inside the Copilot for your business apps like Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, the Copilot lab here shows you all the bunch of some sample prompts which you can readily use, right? And you can choose it by category. But now the Copilot lab is showing you only for PowerPoint, right? Excluding Word and Excel, all that. But you want a full collection of all the Copilot lab, right? You can see go to Copilot lab. When I click on here, they're going to launch the Copilot lab, which I need to sign in with my account. And you can see this is the main Copilot lab on the web. And here you can choose, okay? What are the Copilots? See, Copilot, right, is not just for Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, Outlook, OneNote. You've got even Loop and Whiteboard. Now, I don't have Loop license, so I cannot demonstrate that. Loop is also a separate license. And a whiteboard, of course, whiteboard is for collaboration where you can, launch whiteboard for you to scribble and for you to collaborate your ideas. You can do ideation among your team members when you're having Teams meeting, right? But anyway, I'm not conducting this too. So for example, I want to look at okay, let's say Teams. I choose Teams, and there we go. These are all the prompts for Teams. And they also gave you some quick tips for how to write better prompts in Copilot. And they say possibilities are limitless, of course. There are some FAQs. So this is actually Copilot Lab. This Copilot Lab, right, is only applicable to Copilot for Microsoft 365 subscribers, right? If you try to sign in with your Outlook.com or whatever, they don't launch this for you. They will bring you to Microsoft support website. It's not the actual Copilot Lab. So they scan for whether you have the license for Microsoft 365 Copilot before showing you Copilot Lab, right? So this is actually quite beautiful because if you do not know what Copilot can do, what kind of prompts to start up with, this is valuable, I can tell you, right? Today, that means the non-prompt engineers, you might not be very good in prompting. You can directly go to Copilot Lab, and view sample prompts and examples, right? And of course, talking about creating presentation out of nowhere. Now, remember when I say create a presentation here, so you can say create a presentation about a history of something, but I can tell you it won't work here. Now, what if, let's say I prove to you, create a presentation about the history of generative AI, let's say. You see, you need to plug information from the web in order for you to do this. It might not work right now because Microsoft is saying that when you ask information about generative AI, it might or might not work because Microsoft is still working on it to include automatically the GPT with the web search direct insight. Apparently, it works right now. Ooh, it's nice. Oh, okay, beautiful. Because I tried this, it doesn't work yesterday. Okay, so today, wow, beautiful. Okay, you guys are the first ones who can see this. I just say create a presentation about history of generative AI, which means that it needs to do some web research. It needs to crawl the web for that. But silently in the background, they are now doing that. So you can see evolution of generative AI. So there you go. Where does all this information come from? It's of course from the GPT in the background, right? So breakthroughs, as you can see, just a simple one, right? So challenges, So now with this new presentation, I can also say add a slide about ChatGPT. I just say add a slide about ChatGPT. Let's see what it will find, and it will add me slide number 6. Let's see whether you are able to add a slide. There you go, ChatGPT. Okay. So this is kind of cool, no? And if you want to change the images whatsoever, you can say add an image, add whatever image. But like I say, you can use this hand in hand with Designer. When you go to Designer, you don't like this design, you can choose some other designs, right? And you have to know one thing, okay, that the Designer is also powered by AI. So that correct images, right, based on the wordings are selected. For example, if you have a PowerPoint slide that talks about the origin of something, so the images, the design that it will show you, right, shows like a tree, like the origin of something. So they try to match, choose suitable stuffs, okay, for you. So for example, early generative AI, when they say early, so they show you all these tapes, you see. So if you talk about breakthroughs, they show some code, and yeah, they are able to add, GPT capabilities. Okay, so then maybe here in the Copilot, I can just say add one more slide about Microsoft Copilot. Okay, now watch one more demo I'm going to show you. Let's wait for the next slide to appear. So there you go, Microsoft Copilot. And you see, I say Microsoft Copilot, they still talk about AI pair programming, right? Can you see this? That's what I told you earlier when I started this webinar. Microsoft Copilot started in February, okay, as an AI pair programming which is from GitHub first, right? Then after that, they make it available, all right, throughout all Microsoft products. And Microsoft intends the branding of Copilot to be replacing everything. Now, the next one, okay, that we're going to look into, right, okay, is of course, watch this. Can you see that now my ChatGPT slide, right, is before and Copilot, right? What if I can say, move the slide number 6 to the last? Let's see whether I can move ChatGPT, which is slide number 6, to the last. You can pinpoint the position, okay? Okay, here we go. They say that, is it? No. Slide number 6 has been moved to the last position of the presentation. No, this is still, it doesn't work. It maybe my prompt, okay? Let's say move again, okay? Slide number 6, or maybe since I'm looking at slide number 6, right? Move this slide to the last position. I must mention the position. There you go. It works now. There you go. The slide with ID, you see? You must use the word position. So now ChatGPT is the last position. Copilot is before this. Look at that. Okay. So there you go. Even though the prompt is short, but there are keywords that you must understand, like the word apply. You know, like for example, you want to delete, you just say delete. Don't use the word like eliminate or destroy. You know, this doesn't work. Okay. So just use plain English, plain words. Like if you want to write, just say write or draft. These are two common words. No need to say generate this and all that, because I started Copilot, right, with that notion in mind, because I'm from ChatGPT, you know, and being a certified prompt engineer, I think too much. I am very complex in my thinking, because I'm writing prompts very complicated using ChatGPT or Google Bard or whatever, right? But in Copilot, I find that I just need to take a few steps back, take a deep breath, and just use plain human language. You don't need to write like very, very complex prompt engineering methodology. You don't need to follow a specific framework or whatsoever. Now, the best way to study, right, is of course clicking on the Copilot Lab. Learn from the Copilot Lab. You can see that it's very, very useful. What kind of words they start off with and all that, that should give you a rough idea how to use Copilot. Okay. So as you can see, there you go. This is actually my, PowerPoint. And you can even ask questions on a PowerPoint. Let me show you one example. I'm going to open up one PowerPoint slide, which I have created over the weekend, especially preparing for this webinar. This is, again, I use Copilot to draft it, Actually, I created this PowerPoint slide by writing something on my Word, and then Word generate a PowerPoint. Okay, as you know that I can generate PowerPoint slides from Word, which I've shown you. So this is actually what green hydrogen plant. It's a project proposal or something like that, right? Plant proposal. So what I want to show you right now is, first of all, number one, look at all my slides at the side here. Okay, they are not really organized. You know that PowerPoint has a way to organize your slides. So what I can do is I go to my Copilot, I can talk to Copilot, and I say, there we go, organize this presentation. It's also suggested from here. Just click organize this presentation. They're going to create grouping for different slides together. Pay attention to the left-hand side, the slide picker here. So once they applied, they are trying to scan through all the slides. Which of them are related? They group them together. So as you can see, there, this is part of introduction. This is part of project proposal. And I think everything was at the end, project presentation at the back. So they created organizing here. So as you can see, like group where you can collapse, can expand. So that is also something that you can do, right? And you can start asking questions about your slide here. Now, even though over the weekend when I tested, it is not really that accurate. For example, I just say that, what is the amount of the budget proposed, or maybe not budget. I'll talk about budget. What is the projected revenue, let's say? What is the projected revenue? And I don't bother scrolling through all the slides. I just want to ask directly, what is the projected revenue? Let's see whether it's accurate or not, because the information is inside the slide. But what I've tested, Copilot will just pluck a simple figure from the blue sky. You see, okay, according to the presentation, the first year revenue is projected to be 10 million. I think when they have got citations means it's correct. So that means they do find the source. The source came from here. So when I click, they bring me to this slide. There you go. It's really correct. 10 million first year revenue. Okay. So now I'm going to ask it, what other facts should I be aware of? Because in a PowerPoint slide, I just want to know what other numbers besides 10 million is my first year revenue. What other facts should I be aware of? Let's see whether it is able to list out all the facts. So as you can see, there are a few facts here. Wow. When I say list out the facts, they are kind of like summarizing it for me. So according to the presentation, the project proposal includes a detailed plan. Then you see the project budget is 100,000. First year revenue, 10 million. As you can see, well, they got many, many citations here, as you can see, references. Okay. So yeah, this is actually something kind of cool. So which means today your Excel file, your Word document, your PowerPoint presentation all serve as a knowledge base for your Copilot, where you can chat and talk, and just immediately, retrieve what information directly from there without having you to find it yourself. Can you imagine scrolling through maybe 60 or 70 PowerPoint presentation slides to find a single answer? But what you can do now is just talk to Copilot, right? So this is something kind of nice. And what about back to Word? Can Word actually generate summaries or whatever reading from PowerPoint files? The answer is yes, of course. Okay. So you can create PowerPoint presentation from Word and vice versa. From Word also, I can generate writing or drafts from PowerPoint. For example, I click here again. Okay. Write me, okay, a summary in 100 words, just 100 words, okay, about or based from the file, and I put a / and I can look for it. There you go. This is the PowerPoint file, green hydrogen production plant just now. When I click on generate, so as they are being generated, let me, there you go. Whoa, I was about to tell something, but now they're writing. There we go. It's really less than 100 word, within 100 words. So, but it says not less than 100 words. If you look at it right now at the bottom, 136 words. So they can overshoot that, you see. So now I want to refine this. I click here. Make it even shorter. Okay, comma, less than 100 words. Don't say in 100 words, because when you say in 100 words, it can be plus minus, right? Or you can put it, let's say, no more than. You can use this as a limiter, no more than 100 words. Okay, so just run this. Let's see a second draft. So one thing that you need to realize, okay, is that the Copilot thing that you are working on here, right? Okay, it's all the histories. Like I said, I've shown you where to delete the history, right? But the histories are all crossed, intersected. As you can see, now it says 43 words. When I say no more than 100 words, right, it gives me so short 43 words because I say make it shorter, as you can see, all right? So either you like the first draft, which is here, or the second draft. I think second draft is too short. Maybe I like the first draft. So then I say keep it. There you go. Okay. Now, one more thing that you need to really understand, okay, as I write this just now, let me just kind of undo this. Okay, undo everything. Now, watch this. When I put a /, when I mention a file, these are the files that has been recently used. Okay, and this is actually by accessing your Microsoft OneDrive or SharePoint. What would be the top 3? They only look at top 3 recently accessed files. And this recently accessed file, right, is not real time, guys. I tried creating a new file, save it into my OneDrive, and that's supposed to be in OneDrive, right? The first #1 recently used file. But then when I tried here, it doesn't work. So I tried another way, okay, which is I close Word, I relaunch Word. Now, just to show you, If I go to my OneDrive, let me go to my OneDrive again. Launch my OneDrive. I just want to look at my OneDrive. These are my recently used files. As you can see, there you go. Can you see my sample is there? Just now I created a new Excel file sample. It's supposed to be top 3, right? So, but anyway, Excel is actually filtered. You can't write Word documents by sampling an Excel file. It's only Word or PowerPoint. So, but whatever it is, right, I've got, I think 1, 2, 3. I think it is based on this, correct? Number 1, number 2, number 3. So let me now launch Word and, oh, sorry, I launched Outlook. Launch Word is here. So now when I launch Word, I choose a blank document. Now when I click on this and I put in a slash, and they are trying to look at, yep, correct. These are the top 3 most recently used file accessed from my OneDrive. But then they say, how? What? Only these 3 files? I can't actually access other files? Well, you can, but you have to write. You have to remember the file name. For example, I want to look for a file name. Let's say somewhere at the back here. Maybe client brief, my e-bike client brief. Okay, so what, can it work? Let's say a slash here. I just type e-bike. There are many, as you can see. They are doing a search. E-bike client brief. Look at that. Okay, so, but if you don't type anything, the initial list, right, only shows the top 3 recently accessed file. But, well, if you want other files, you must remember the file name. So, for example, I type the word client, then they're going to search for other files, the file names that has client. But bear in mind, it is only Word and PowerPoint so far. Okay, so that's actually for the time being. I'm not so sure whether Microsoft is going to open up, but I remember Microsoft says even PDFs. Right now, PDF doesn't work. Not yet. Okay, they can't really read PDF content and do summary or whatsoever. Okay, so that's roughly what your Word and PowerPoint can do. You can ask PowerPoint to create presentation from a Word file and vice versa. Okay. Okay, now, other than Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, which we have covered so far, let's talk about OneNote. Now, I'm not so sure how many of you guys have common usage of OneNote. Now, frankly speaking, OneNote is given, in Microsoft Office for some time. Okay, those of you who always attend meetings and you really make use of OneNote on your tablets, right, using a stylus to jot down notes, or even you type it out, your minutes of meeting or whatsoever. Okay, what kind of notes, whatever, even writing a diary or using it as a planner, it's a place for you to collaborate some notes among your members. But some of you guys want to make it private, so it can also still be done. But let me talk about OneNote here. Okay, so I'm going to launch my OneNote here. Not this one, sorry. I need to open up OneNote itself. Open OneNote. So I have my OneNote here, whereby you can see my Copilot is also integrated into it. Okay, so you need to understand, okay, what kind of things, okay, that OneNote can do. This is actually quite powerful, I would say, which I don't even realize, okay, that it can be this so-called powerful. Okay, now, first of all, I need to make sure that I have launched this Gerald at work. So this is actually the incompatible sync. What? Let me open the notebook. I'm using Gerald at work. Where are my notebooks? Let me go to my notebooks. Notebooks, all right. And I've got Gerald at work. Okay. How come it doesn't show me? I think I've got some sync problem here. Oh my God. Sync. I've got some notes actually in there prepared for this. Now it doesn't sync. Sync status, it says we can't access this section of file because the file was moved or invalid. Okay, You know what? I'm going to close this notebook and reopen. Okay. So now I'm going to reopen the notebook. Shall that work? Yeah, because I've reorganized that. Wait for a while, just hang on. It's gonna be very quickly done. I just need to go search for notebooks. This is the one. Here we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's syncing right now. Okay, very well. Okay, it's there. So this misplaced section, whatever. Don't worry, let me just kind of like delete it off. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now let me show you, for example, first of all, I've created, okay, a sample general meeting for new hires. Let's say this is like an HR kind of thing, and I've got a meeting, okay, for new hires. So these are the meeting minutes. Okay. Now what I can do here, right, is that I can click on Copilot, and let's say that I know the minutes are very, very short, but I can just kind of like click summarize. Okay. Summarize, and then I can say summarize the notes, okay, in a bullet list. Okay. You can even do like something like draft a to-do list based on the full thing there, right? And you can even say list the pros and cons. They will show you a table, right? So this is actually what you're trying to look at, because sometimes you have got pages and pages of notes, very long-winded notes, and you can see according to the selected text, as you can see here, the purpose of the meeting was to do this, and you can see that Lucy is a recent marketing graduate from London, blah, 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 all that. And if let's say, oh, this is actually just too much, because even though a summary in a bullet point is like this, so I just say, who are the new hires? I just click. I was wondering, because there's so many people involved here, right? I just want to find out who are the new hires. You see, Sally Parker and Lucy Smith. They are joining the sales team as sales associates. So see, citation number 1 is here. Citation number 2 is here. So it's really like for people who don't really like who don't bother, it's like TLDR, right? Sometimes even though short, also you just say that, oh yeah, this is TLDR. I'm not going to bother reading it. So I just rather talk to Copilot and tell me what I'm interested to know, right? So as you can see, what are the roles? What do Sally and Lucy report to? You can just say, oh yeah, okay. Who do Sally and Lucy report to? Right? The response isn't based on that, but say Sally and Lucy report to Joe for assignments. So because based on the whatever content that they can find, right? Another thing that I can do, right, would be, let's say, what are the key takeaways? Sometimes the word key takeaways can also mean summary, because that's what I realized Copilot interpret the word key takeaways, and summary is the same thing, but the summary will be much, much shorter. As you can see, just now when I say summarize, they show you everything. Wherever possible, citations, they will just show me everything. But when I say key takeaways, it's much shorter. As you can see, they will tell you the highlights. You can use the word highlights, key highlights or key takeaways. So Sally Parker and whatever, So this is something that you can do, okay? And what you can ask Copilot for. Now, another thing that you can do is, I go to technical specs here. Let me click on technical specs. Let's say, for example, you've got another note here, right, which shows you technical specs. These are all the technical specs. All right. Now, when you've got these technical specs, right, what we can actually afford to do, okay, is to also ask to output, what are the important information that you need, okay, from this technical specification. So this technical specification, okay, can also mean, okay, that you are trying to use Word and connect to this note, right, and then output, okay, what are the key technical specification. Right? So what I intend to show here, you just give me a moment, right? Is let's say, for example, okay, maybe a to-do list. Okay. From this technical specification, it's a technical document, right? Okay. Write me a to-do list from this page, because it's a page. Okay. Or based on the technical specification, right, I can even output a project plan. As you can see, they will tell you these are the to-do lists based on the technical specification, all right? The to-do list, okay, it's quite long, but usually if you look at the points in the to-do list, it's based on all the points for each of the section in your technical specification. Okay, this is a technical document about a shipment tracking app. So you can output what is a to-do list here. Okay, or would you mind, let's say, write me a project plan, okay, from this page. I can do that as well. Hang on there. There you go. Plan number one, see, phase number one, phase number two, all phases based on the requirements, they are outputting into different phases of the project plan. And all this, right, you can actually copy it, all right, and then transfer it into Word. So let's say I try to do that integration, copy here, switch over to Word, all right, and immediately dismiss this guy, I paste it here. Once you pasted it here, right, then I can actually bring up the Copilot panel here, and I just ask this guy to summarize this document. See, you can do that. Okay. So AI, one Copilot from OneNote, from a technical spec, output it to a project plan, and a project plan, you paste it into Word, and then you just put it into a summary. So the summary will just output to you what are the main ideas that you're going to have. All right. So this is actually how what OneNote can do. Now, the very, very interesting thing about OneNote, right, is the last thing that I want to show here. Wedding planning. Okay, something kind of cool here. You see, in this section called wedding planning, right, I've generated, okay, frankly speaking, I use ChatGPT to generate these dummy wedding plans, right? I created 5. Johnson and Amelia, Lucas and Sophia, all right? Then I've got like Julian and Estelle, Marco and Fiona. So I just asked ChatGPT, right? I say that, okay, you are an expert wedding planner, okay? Please create a wedding plan, okay? A fictional wedding plan, together with information common in a typical wedding plan. So it gave me all these things: event, date, location, pre-wedding preparation, ceremony details, reception details, everything. Now, I just generated 5 samples. Now, in real world, let's say, for example, you've got all these things laid out. You are a wedding planner and you've got 60 to 70 weddings, that you need to handle. Now, instead of looking one by one, you know what I'm going to do? Okay, watch this right now. In this section, right, wedding plan, I've got 5 pages, separate weddings. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I just say, which wedding, okay, in this section is the most expensive? Let's see what I can get. Because out of so many weddings, I want to know which one is the most expensive, which one costs the most. So we can see that Marco and Fiona's Midnight Sun Arctic budget of 250,000. Wow. So is it true? This one 150,000. This one is 120. This is 180. Marco and Fiona, yep, 250,000. Last one, 200,000. Yes, correct. Marco and Fiona is the most expensive. Okay. Next question I can ask, right? For example, which wedding, okay, is held overseas? So we can see that you've got hundreds of pages in your OneNote section, and you can just ask question, fish it out. So you can see, according to current section, the wedding that is held overseas is Marco and Fiona's, this one, in Svalbard, Norway. So we can see that this one is in Langkawi. This is in Penang. They know in my location right now. This is KL to Cameron Highlands. This one is, Norway. But I think they missed out another one. Elliot and Nadia, this one is English countryside. but it never mentioned England, so that is why it misses out this one. Okay, these 2 weddings are supposedly to be done in overseas. Okay, and one last thing I can do, right? Maybe let's say which wedding has the most guests. So we can ask information directly from there, because like I say, the most important thing that you can understand about Copilot in Microsoft 365 would be all your documents, okay, the files that you interact with in your Copilot serve as the knowledge base for Copilot to work with. That's it. Okay. It's just like for those of you who uses ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is all over the place. It's all over the world. You can ask it about based about almost anything. But in Copilot for Microsoft 365, it's based on your work data, your files. But if you use Copilot free, well, that's like ChatGPT. It's all over the place. Okay. So according to the current section, Johnson and Amelia's wedding celebration with 150 attendees. This is the highest one. So this one, 150 attendees, correct. This one is only 100. This is only 80. This is 60. This one is 120, correct. So Johnson and Amelia is the highest. So that means they are really, really accurate, okay, in terms of numberings and all that, okay. So yeah, this is something that you can do with your OneNote, okay? So you can generate to-do lists, you can help summarize, you can ask questions about all the data, practically what you have in there. Okay, that's about what I can sneak peek, show you on that, on my OneNote. And what's next would be, okay, Outlook. I've actually kind of shown you a glimpse of my Outlook. Even let's say, for example, my Outlook, it's actually a classic ones. Now, the only thing that I can do here, let's say, for example, I receive this Microsoft service updates. Wow, it's TLDR. Nah, I click summarize here. That's the only one Copilot feature that I have here. What's most interesting, right, is the auto reply, the coaching. I don't get it here because I'm using the classic Outlook. So it's generating a summary. I remember Microsoft actually launched last month, January update, that they even make coaching available for classic Outlook, but I don't get it in my site. So they're generating a summary based on this email that I'm getting here, so that I don't bother reading it. Still generating. Just want to show you, there you go, summary by Copilot. So the email thread is a weekly digest, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's just a summary, okay? But the coaching is supposedly to be available when you click new email. So if I want to write a new email like this, as you can see, I don't get any coaching available. Usually coaching, right, okay, will be either up here. I don't need the Copilot button because I'm using Classic. But the moment I click here, I'm supposed to get something like the auto assistant on Word, it is going to actually help me coach me writing. Now, let me kind of show you. I'm not lying to you. Let me go to my support.microsoft.com itself for Copilot. Okay, so in my Microsoft Copilot, let me click on what's new. Let me show you. Look at that. January updates, I told you. While drafting an email, Copilot can provide coaching and make suggestions on tone, clarity, and sentiment. You see, now available in Classic Outlook. So you see, try it. Choose Copilot icon coaching by Copilot. So it's not available. I don't know why. Okay. So it's, even though it says now available in Classic Outlook. But what about on the web then? Okay. Let's say my Outlook dot Office. This is my Outlook. So this supposedly to show me this is the brand new Outlook here, but I don't see the button for Copilot. Now, even if I click on a new mail, right? Is there a Copilot? Let me see. More options. Is there more options here? No. It's supposed to, it's here in the center. Now I can see it. Yeah. Copilot. There you go. Draft with Copilot or coaching by Copilot. There you go. So if you want to draft with Copilot, you can put a slash here. There you go. Draft with Copilot, or you can actually draft it, okay, based on a file. So I say draft with Copilot. What do you want this email to say? So let's say to congratulate, to congratulate my colleague who has just been promoted to CFO, let's say. Okay, so you can click on this generation options, right, to show you want the tone to be direct, neutral, casual, formal, or make it a poem. This is really weird here. So I want to make it casual, and I do not want it to be too short, but I just want it to be medium. So let's say generate. So they can create a draft for you. So at least I can successfully show you my Copilot available in the new Outlook. There to congratulate my. So we can see that this is dear whoever. You can replace it. You want to keep it or you want to regenerate anything you want to change. Also, no problem. Okay. So this is actually drafting from scratch. Now let's say I discard. Now what about coaching? Coaching by Copilot. Now when you click coaching, right, it's just that you need to type. As you type, okay, you need to type at least 100 characters. That's the thing about it. Coaching requires to sample the way you write, and then slowly they are going to help you modify it. It's like a mentor, as you write, maybe your spelling is wrong or maybe you don't sound right. They're going to tell you suggestions. Hey, you can replace with this, or you can write it shorter this way. So that's coaching. And you can see that coaching says more type in at least 100 characters. But if you do not know, then you can say try draft with Copilot. Right? So drafting, it's directly, you type in a prompt and then it's going to generate the email for you. So these are the things, again, that would be available, right? And of course, I always crack a joke even in my ChatGPT class. Those of you who attended my ChatGPT class before, I mentioned about how Copilot one day will have that auto agent to do reply, because automation is something that is going to be very far, but not too far, because Microsoft is actually looking at the auto Copilot. They will call it autopilot one day. Now, autopilot is the automation way, because Microsoft, part of their research team, already came out with a framework called AutoGen. Now, AutoGen are custom GPT agents that executes workflows. So you can build workflows which will define based on an event that something happened, and assisted by AI, they're going to try to predict what you intend to do, and they're going to do it for you. For example, I just give you an example. In the future, right, your Outlook, let's say your inbox has got in one day 50 to 60 email backlogs, and you just have no time to go and reply them. So what you can do, right, is to get Copilot, let's say the autopilot in the future, set a rule that every day at 6 p.m., finish work up to 6 p.m., all those new emails, you're going to automatically reply the emails one by one in the background. Okay. But you can, of course, hopefully they will choose, okay, to allow you to review them. Okay, if not, let's say, for example, one of the joke that I always crack is if one of the email asks you to, can you please approve this $100,000 budget or whatever, and the AI will reply, oh yes, and you're dead. You just simply reply automatically, right? AI chose to make a decision for you. So hopefully the decision-making process is not going to be that fully automated without human intervention. Okay, so this is going to be really, really crazy, and this is looking into what we call AGI, because ChatGPT, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, just announced that GPT-5 is coming soon. Just when now they announced GPT-4 Turbo. Now all Copilot is running on GPT-4 Turbo. Yeah? The GPT-4 Turbo is the model that executes with speed. And you should realize also, even though my ChatGPT Plus, it's not as turbo as it gets. Maybe they say turbo, I don't know what happened. Maybe the turbine got problem or whatever. It's not really turbo. Okay, but apparently Copilot in Microsoft, they are really silently using ChatGPT, the GPT-4 Turbo model, because it's kind of fast. Now, what you saw in my response today in my Microsoft 365, it's considered slow, I can tell you, okay, I cross my heart, on Saturday and Sunday when I'm doing my own, testing and all that at home, it was super fast, especially the drafting on Word and all that. Just when I press generate, it comes out immediately. All right, it pours out the information just like how rain in Malaysia, just literally pour without warning. right? So, but today I don't know whether it's my internet connection or the Copilot is just underperforming as compared over the weekend. Okay. So this is actually something that we can anticipate upcoming because Microsoft is day in, day out, upgrading and enhancing Copilot and giving us more beautiful stuffs. Now, speaking of this, let me close this. That's what I can show you about Outlook. Do you know that for those of you who are not having your Copilot for Microsoft 365 by your organization, you have your own personal Microsoft account. Now, I know not many people will buy Microsoft 365 personal, right? I'm not so sure how much does it cost. I think it costs around less than $20. But Copilot Pro, you can buy Copilot Pro for $20. Same price with ChatGPT Plus. All right. Now, what Copilot Pro currently can do for you. Now, remember, I've shown you the Copilot free. Let me go back to my Copilot free. I just go to my copilot.microsoft.com. This is to sign in with, they talk. There you go. This is my Copilot for free, as you can see, running on my outlook.com, right? Now, you realize that earlier I did generate an image of a cat in a hat holding a bat standing on a mat. Remember this? Okay, and as you click on it, right, it actually brings you to Bing Image Creator. It used to be called Bing Image Creator. Now, let me show you. It's in bing.com/create. This was used to be Bing Image Creator. Today it's called Image Creator from Designer. Now, you can see that under my creations, they still store my history. This was my earlier history, okay? And I think I generated twice. It was here. First one was here. Did 4 types of creation, and I've got 2. Now, because of this 2 creation, I got my boost here -2. Copilot free gives you 15 boosts per day, refreshable every day, 15 boosts. Now, each generation -1 boost. Okay? When you run out of boosts for free, they say that maybe you can, you can still generate, but it will run pretty slower, much slower. But I feel that I can't generate much. So, but if you pay for Copilot Pro, you will get 100 boosts per day. 15 boosts only for Copilot free, 100 boosts for Copilot Pro. That's what I can sense the difference between Copilot and Copilot Pro for now. But if you get Copilot Pro without having Microsoft 365, I can give you a good example. My Outlook.com, my personal Microsoft account, I did not buy any Microsoft 365. It's based on the free one, okay? My OneDrive is still only 5 gig, right? So I did not purchase anything. But now that doesn't stop me if I can just directly purchase Copilot Pro. So which means I got Copilot Pro, whereby I can access GPT-4 Turbo, I can have 100 boosts for image generation. But because I don't have my Microsoft 365 Personal or Home Edition, so it doesn't integrate into my Word or Excel, I do not need to buy that because I myself have Copilot for Microsoft 365. So I can work on my Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all that using my company's Microsoft 365 Copilot. So my personal account, I don't need that. So my personal account, I may want to buy Copilot Pro. I will definitely need to buy that. You know why? Because I am creating Copilot courses already. As of the time I finish this webinar, right? You guys just stay tuned. I'm creating at least 2 courses. Okay, one for the Copilot business apps. The other one will be Copilot for Power Platform, right? So the only challenge would be for those of you who intend to attend a full Copilot training, you need to have a Copilot account, especially Microsoft 365. So from the way I look at it, if you currently do not have Copilot for Microsoft 365, or at least Copilot Pro with Microsoft 365, you can't really attend the training. You can attend the training, but maybe you can just treat it like a seminar. You just watch my demo and then all the exercises you cannot participate. All right. So this is actually what I intend to do in the upcoming a month. So probably, by the end of Chinese New Year, I will be able to launch the courses. Okay. So this is actually what you'll get right now. If you don't have Copilot Pro, then you get only 15 boosts, which is the image generation. Okay, renewable every day, yes. Okay, but Copilot Pro will give you 100. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's something that I recalled. Now, finally, I want to look into Copilot for Teams before I jump into Power Platform, right? Now, Copilot for Teams, I would like to use our Teams here, the meeting that we are currently having right now, okay? So you can see, let me just drag over here, my Teams app. You can see my Copilot button is also here. Now, earlier on, right, okay, I started recording, and you can see record and transcribe. Because I've got Copilot, I have started recording, and at the same time, I have started transcription. I can read my transcript here. Now, when I launch my transcript, as you can see, look at this. It is real-time transcribing what I am saying. All right. Because of this transcription, I can still launch Copilot and ask question about here, this thing. So for the very first time, right, if your organization has got Copilot deployed, you have a Copilot license in your Microsoft 365. Let's say, like I say, the most valuable thing that I can see is, for example, you've got a Teams meeting, but you ran late. You join in late. So once you join into the meeting, right, you launch Copilot and you can ask here, okay, what did I miss? Okay. So Copilot will then read through the session earlier, whatever that is started recording and transcription, and then they will tell you all those things that has been mentioned so far. And you can easily catch up in the meeting, even though you ran late and you join in late. Okay. So right now it says, what did I miss? And you see, you missed the presentation and a webinar about Microsoft Copilot. As you can see, the webinar covered how to use, something like that. Okay. And I can say recap meeting so far. I can click recap meeting so far. Remember, this is a meeting that is still running. So when I click recap meeting so far, as of now, they are just going to output bullet points about important highlights in the meeting. And because with transcription. Now, when Microsoft launched this Copilot for Teams, they require that transcription must be turned on. But the latest January update says that you can now use Copilot even without transcribing. Because transcription, to some people, they think that's going to be very offending, all right, or dangerous, because it seems that whatever I speak, I talk, right, it is black and white. They are hard-coded. They are transcribed. So it can serve as evidence or whatsoever. Okay, so as you can see, key topics. So you see, based on this, right, I can even tell myself and use it as, okay, I've spoken Word, I have spoken Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. Now I'm talking about Teams. So that means I've covered well so far, all that thing. So you can see I can use Copilot during the meeting, when the meeting is running, right? And do you know what? Based on the transcription, right, you can even, I want to ask questions, but I don't know what questions to ask. Okay, look at this. I can say, suggest me questions which I can ask. You can do that if you have Copilot. So if you were thinking that, well, yeah, I just want to participate in a meeting, that I would like to ask a question, but I just don't know what kind of questions to ask. Even they do have a suggestion, suggest follow-up questions. Okay. This is quite powerful, you know, and during the meeting. And I heard that Microsoft is testing, you're not going to believe this, but maybe some of you guys have heard of this. Live avatars, okay, which you can take a picture of your own face, and they're going to have a live avatar that makes you join a meeting while you are still sleeping, you know. So just in case when a meeting is running, okay, whereby people wanted you all to turn on your webcam and just to prove that you are joining a meeting, but while you are sleeping, you can just automatically join the meeting with your avatar showing your face, live face, you know, and then just moving and blinking and, you know, so as if you just really joined the meeting, but then actually you're still sleeping or you're away. This is really, really weird, right? But look at this. My Copilot says, based on the response, some questions that you can ask are, what are the main features of Copilot and how can they help, right? What are the differences between free, pro, and 365? How to use this, you know? How to use Copilot Notebook and to test and refine prompts. So you can see that they can generate some common questions here, right? And I can even ask, let's say, for example, out of the meeting chat, right, there are so many questions. Like, for example, now I go to the chat. Yeah, surprisingly, not many of you guys ask me so much question, all right? So, for example, I can actually go back to my Copilot, right? I can do a recap. For example, sorry, I'm going to use one of the person here. I said that, what did Sangeeta asked? I can just do that. Okay, so as long as I type the name of the participant correctly, so it should be able to recall what did she ask. Come on, don't disappoint me. So today, you can actually turn off your transcription, but yet Copilot can still do live. Now, the only thing that transcription must be turned on, right, is after the meeting ended, the meeting is still there, right, in your chat. And you want to continue going into it, right, and ask questions after the meeting has finished. You need a transcription, okay? So there you go. During the meeting, Sangeeta asked 2 questions. Wow, they know that you asked 2 questions. The first one was about the difference between Copilot Free and all that. The second one was about the payment required for Copilot to appear in PowerPoint. Is that correct? I'm sure it's correct, right? Because they are able to run into the chat as well as transcript. Whoever said what, then they go into the transcript because the transcript is here. I have to go into my record and transcribe. I can view the transcript here, which is still running live right now. Okay. But if you want to access past chats, then it will be in the chat. This is where all our chats are. Okay. So my Copilot can actually use all these information as a source. All right. So this is actually something quite powerful. But again, I mentioned the transcription must be turned on for you to go back into a meeting that has finished, like, for example, last week, and you want to open back that particular meeting and launch Copilot and again recap or output some key points, or are there any call to actions, in this meeting? That one requires transcription. But you can still use Copilot without transcription only during a live meeting when the meeting is running. After the meeting ended, you want to use Copilot, you may not be able to use full-fledged unless in your chat you have got some information. If your chat has got not enough information, you can't use Copilot after the meeting. You can only use it during the meeting, right? For the best effect. Okay, so this is something that what Copilot can do. And of course, when we talk about the meeting that you have in Copilot, right, based on past meetings, now you can actually get Word, right, to refer to past meetings and then try to get something out. Now, it's not just Word, yeah? I can go to my M365. Let's say I'm going to choose to launch my Copilot for M365. I'm going to switch over to my work account. So I got my Copilot for Microsoft 365. This is the chat with the main Copilot, okay? So now I'm going to ask a question, right? I put, maybe let's say, summarize the meeting / I look for meeting, there you go. I do not have meetings, let's say, for example, this meeting. This was one of my Power BI data modeling class, which is in Teams. So let's see what I want to summarize. What can they do? So they can refer to past meetings and they're going to try to look at it. But I doubt I'm going to have anything. I'm sure this guy is going to say sorry because there might not be much things in there. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot find summary, correct, because that meeting hasn't got much information in there. And that time, I still don't have transcriptions and much of a chat. So as you can see, it just tell me that it is organized by my logistics department on January 26, and along with this and that, right? So you can see that you can refer to some past meetings, some notes or whatsoever. So this is actually what you can use your Copilot chat for. Okay, so well, Teams, the most valuable thing is your transcription as well as the Copilot, which you can launch live during a meeting, and whatever that you miss, you can ask Copilot, hey, what did I miss? I missed out this, what was being mentioned, okay, for the past 10 minutes. Do you know they can do that as well? Okay, for the past half an hour, what did I miss? What are key points the speaker has mentioned the last half an hour or the last 1 hour. You can actually mention timelines inside your Teams Copilot. Okay. All right. So that's one of the sneak peek that I can have there. Okay. Well, are there any other questions so far? Okay, let me check here. In order to have the Copilot recap meeting functions, the participants to have Copilot license or both the presenter, organizer must have Copilot as well. Okay, now, very good question there. Okay, now in order for the transcription and the recap or whatsoever, whoever has the license, right, will have the ability to click the Copilot button and do a recap. But the presenter or the organizer who start the meeting must have the license in order to start transcription. You get what I mean? Okay. So you must have at least one person in the meeting that has a Copilot license. Now, let's say, for example, in my company, I've got 3 people. I'm not in there. I'm the only one who have license so far because I only bought 1 license just for my training and testing, right? Before I intend to deploy. So 3 of my staff had a meeting together, but 3 of them does not have any licenses at all for Copilot. So thus their teams, right, would not have the Copilot button. There's no transcription or whatsoever. You understand me? Okay. So, but if let's say the organizer, I'm the organizer, I have Copilot license, I turn on transcription, right? But after the meeting, who can do recap? I'm the only one who can do recap, right? The other participants in the meeting who does not have the Copilot license would not be able to have the Copilot. Thus, you cannot bring up the recap function. All right. So every participant in the meeting, if you want to talk about everybody want to do recap, everybody must have a Copilot license. Next one, can Copilot create minutes of meetings based on transcription? Yes, definitely. All right. So what we can do here, right now, the meeting is still running right now. Okay. So I'm supposedly to be able to demonstrate, okay, that you can use Copilot. Let's see whether I can demonstrate even though it's still running right now. So I launch my Copilot. I can say something like this. Okay, draft simple minutes of meeting. Okay, so far. So you can draft it right here. But if you want to really draft it in Word, okay, now Word, so far, you can't really look into meetings yet, but it is already planned. And I heard Microsoft says by next month, it's going to be available, which whereby, remember in Word, when you draft, we can put a slash. Right now, when you put a slash, they can only look at files like Word and PowerPoint slides. But it will be very soon when you can put a slash and look into meetings, right? And then you can draft a minute. But you know what? You can still do so with a Copilot. Whatever you can't do directly in Word, right? You can do here because your Copilot here can put a slash. It is not just files. You can go into meetings. You can go into read your emails, right? You can even look for people, right? All the people. So in the meetings, you can actually select one meeting here, and then you can just say, draft me a minute of meeting. So when the minute comes out here, you just need to copy and then paste it into Word. That's it. Okay. So that's the only thing that here. So there. Here's a draft of the minutes of meeting so far. There you go. It's just bullet points, right? So here you can see one thing that you can still do a copy. Okay, but the format here is not so likely because it's only showing a rough bullet point. But you can go into your M365 chat here in Copilot. You can actually put in a very good prompt, as in draft a formal minutes of meeting complete with all the necessary information, okay, about the starting and the adjournment of the meeting from this meeting. Because I've actually selected this meeting, you can just draft all that out. Then you can see when it says the word formal minutes of meeting, formal MOM, you can even type MOM, you know, it does understand what is MOM, right? So, but it's better for you to put in minutes of meeting. Okay, so you can put in formal minutes of meeting, including all the necessary information about the venue, about the starting, about whatever. Then you can see that the output will be a very formal meeting. And then, I mean, the minutes, you can then copy and paste into Word. Okay, so, but directly in Word right now, you can't refer to the meeting yet. Not right now. Okay. But you can see directly in Copilot so far, I can actually do this. And I can even list out all the action items. Okay. You see, it says, Gerald mentioned that he is creating Copilot courses and will launch them soon. See, the minute actually captured that so far. And if I say list action items, so with Copilot being deployed to your organization now, it is no longer an excuse for everyone to be in the meeting or even late for the meeting to not know what they are talking about, right? Especially when you are given a Copilot license, your boss is going to expect, don't tell me you don't know. You can ask your Copilot. Don't tell me you're late. I know you're late, but no problem. You're late also, you can recap. You can even catch up. No more excuses. I'm sure your boss is going to tell you that. Okay. Okay, will there be confidential issue capturing into info and exposure to teach ChatGPT? Okay, there's no ChatGPT here, yeah? This is Copilot. Okay, Copilot uses the GPT model. And one thing for sure, Microsoft guaranteed data privacy. So whatever information that you are doing here, right, is only within your Microsoft 365 tenant, your organization. So Copilot operates within your organization. None of the information are feed outward to public internet and all that. And you can see also, okay, that your Microsoft Copilot chat here. Do you know that, let me dismiss this. Do you know that if I ask something that requires internet access, it's not going to work? Let me try lah. Hopefully I'm wrong, or don't tell me Microsoft suddenly gave me that. Write short not story. Write a short blog about the history of the Titanic sinking. Okay, in no more than 100 words. Let's see whether this works or not. Oh, I haven't pressed. Okay. This is actually to prove to you, okay, that look at that. It is able to, okay, to grab information from the internet. Apparently, it is, right? But surprisingly, okay, this is allowed, even though this one, look at the plugins. There is a plugin, right, which says web content, which I turn off. Look at this. Let me zoom in. It says here, plugins allow Copilot to reference apps on your behalf. Copilot may share some of your Microsoft 365 enterprise data with plugins you've turned on, you see? So I think, okay, I think I get it now. I think Microsoft actually changed this word because last time I had to turn it on before they allow you to do research on the internet. Now they've made it, apparently after they applied GPT-4 Turbo, you can actually get Copilot here to research from the internet. But whatever files that you do this, okay, it will not be shared outside unless you turn on this one. So by default, it is turned off. So now they say, if you turn this on, right, then Copilot may share some of your data from your company with the plugins here. The only plugin right now is called web content, which by default is turned off. I never turn this on, all right? So that, but yet, if I ask the Copilot to write something that it is required to research from the internet, then, you know, it will be able to do so. Still able to do so, as you can see there. These are all information from the internet. Okay, so I am able to grab data from the internet, but whatever files that I'm referring to, whatever that I chat, is not going to flow outward. It's not going to leak out to the public internet. As long as a plugin here, web content, it's not going to be turned on. Okay, now to some people, you might be asking, then what's the use of turning this one on? When if I don't turn on, I can still write something from the internet, right? I'm sure this will be one of the questions that you guys will be thinking. Now, the reason why I turn on this web content, right, is, for example, you want to actually get your Microsoft 365 to write something about some files, referencing some of the own files here. Now, at the same time, you had a meeting that has attachments which was given to you by your, you know, partner or your supplier or something like that. Now, presumably that your organization and your vendor or your supplier or your partner company also both has Copilot, okay? So when you turn on those web content, right, that means you're able to draft something that can access data from your own file And also you can reference an attachment given from your partner or supplier. You understand me? Which requires web content, requires from one domain, one tenant to cross to another tenant. That's the reason why they give you this plugin. But by default, right now, this plugin is still preview. You can see it still says here preview. So this, I do not yet turn it on because I only do one-way research. I want to write information that I source from the internet, but I do not want to cross the boundaries, access other files, and maybe combine files. Do you know, speaking of combined files, I can do combination of files, Okay, now I'll show you one demo. Okay, you can actually get one file content, another file content, and ask not ChatGPT, sorry, ask Copilot to merge. Let me launch Word one more time. Blank document. Now I'm just going to show you this. Okay, I say that look at slash this file. Now I've got a file which is my course outline for my generative AI series. Let's say GAI dash, they're going to search 102A, which is actually ChatGPT, Midjourney, and Leonardo AI. And again, another slash GAI 102B. I've split this course into two because one covers Midjourney and Leonardo AI. The other one covers DALL-E 3 and Leonardo AI. Okay, I say look at this document and this document, and then write a combined outline from both files. Generate. So I've got two separate course outlines. They're going to look at both outlines. It's going to combine into one, merging them into one. Whatever common ones is going to be together. Whatever that is unique, it's going to be a new one. Okay, a new topic. As you can see, it says now Midjourney, DALL-E 3, and Leonardo AI. See, combined. Look at this. So I've got my course content, which is okay. I did not give it very specific instruction. Only show me the course contents, which is overview of this. And most importantly, I've got ChatGPT, Midjourney, and DALL-E 3. And then I've got introduction to Midjourney, DALL-E 3, Copilot, and also Leonardo AI. So yeah. So I started this course 102 only to cover Midjourney and Leonardo AI. That's for imaging. But because of Copilot with DALL-E 3, I now split them into 102A and 102B, right? So you can see that I can refer to one file and another file, and I can actually come up with a summary, or I can come up with a combo or a combination, okay? So yeah, that's something that you need to know about the web content here. So as long as you don't turn it on, right, whatever that you are talking to your M365 chat here, the Copilot, it's not going to leak out, all right? So Microsoft guarantees enterprise data privacy directly in their Copilot. Okay, so with the last one more hour, I'm going to really step into my Copilot for Power Platform. Now, for those of you who are into Power Platform, I believe this is going to be what quite a number of you guys are waiting for, okay? Now, I'm also sure that some of you guys have been using Power Apps and Power Automate, let's say, or maybe even Power BI. Some of you guys might be thinking, hey, Power BI got Copilot. I never hear Microsoft actually announce that. Now, actually, they do, all right, they did, but it's just that to really people who are part of the Microsoft Fabric, because Power BI, for those of you who know, is part of Fabric, Microsoft Fabric today. So they no longer announce all these things just for Power BI, but you must actually read the documentation under Fabric. So let me talk about Power Platform. So for those of you who are not into Power Platform, maybe you can see this just as a demo. And what is this Power Platform? So I'm going to begin with Power Apps. Okay, so I'm going to close this one off. I'm going to go to my own Power Apps. Just go to my make.powerapps.com. Now, one thing that I would like you all to understand, okay, how do I make Power Apps or Power Platform enabled with Copilot? Now, as of today, still, yeah, you can see this is actually the Copilot for Power Apps. I can write a prompt and it can generate me an app straight away. Okay, but provided, right, your environment must be in United States. Now, if I switch over to my GenRain Consulting, my own default environment, which is in Asia Pacific, look at that. It only say welcome. They only say welcome. And when I click on create, I only got blank app, Dataverse, whatever. This is the common Power Apps where I can build my app, right? From apps and from data, from Dataverse, SharePoint, and all that. But if I switch this to webinar, I've prepared this yesterday, okay? I created a new environment called webinar, which is placed in United States. Now, just to show you, just to prove to you, I go on to my Power Platform Admin Center. I'll show you the two environments that I have right now. Okay, so in my environments here, you can see my Genuine Consulting is default, the region. How come they don't show the region? Let me refresh. There you go. It's Asia, see? So Asia, don't have it. But I created a new environment called webinar, right? Based on a developer type. And I purposely put it region United States. So confirming that when I switch now to webinar, okay, and when you go to home, you can see I've got Copilot here. Again, very simple. I switch to Genuine Consulting, only welcome. If I switch to webinar, I've got, let's build an app. What should I do? So to quickly show you this, right, is like you can see that there are some samples here, right? So to quickly show you this is, let's say, okay, I want an app, okay, to track my inventory, okay? Or maybe in this case, as you can see, list inventory or manage inspection or track sales leads or whatsoever. These are some samples there, okay? So when I click on here, they're going to bring me to the wizard-like kind of thing, see? So they're creating an app using Copilot. So you see Copilot launches on the right-hand side. So working on it. So the first thing that they say that you need is data storage. So since you want to track inventory, right, the first thing is to create a table to store the data, which they affectionately call it inventory, with some sample columns already. Here is a table for tracking inventory. Product ID table, product name, quantity, price, category, all that. Okay. So what can I do here? So I say, what? Let's say change the options of category column, okay, to bikes, comma, clothing, comma, accessories, comma, and components. These are, I'm using the AdventureWorks sample, right? So there are 4 categories. I don't want it to be category 1, 2, 3, and all that. So I just change the options. I can manually do it here, but I don't want. I'm lazy. I just want to talk to Copilot. So I just say, run this. So you can change until you're satisfied, then you can continue and proceed create app. So as you can see, when I say that, here's the updated table. Look at that. Bikes, clothing, accessories, all that. Okay. And you can even say that maybe the product name also you can change, or maybe I'm okay with that right now. Maybe you can even say add a column, okay, which is the date, okay, the purchase, the order date column. But this is inventory, right? So maybe I would just want to say that add a column to store color of the product. Okay. So they're going to add a column for you. Here's an updated table. So you can see right at the back, color. There you go. So if you are satisfied this, right, then I can just proceed, click create app. So now Copilot is going to be immediately create an app for you, which is based on what you want. So this is actually, right, much more shorter than those of you who intended to go and learn how to create power apps and all that. But of course, this doesn't give you the excuse, right, that you no longer need to learn the intricate details of power apps. This is getting AI to help you do all the heavy lifting. But after it is generated, right, then you must still know how to make amendments. Even though you see right now, the Copilot, the Canvas Studio launches to show the design. Copilot also launches on the right-hand side. You can still make changes by not necessarily clicking here and there, but you can talk to Copilot. But so far, again, Copilot is still preview. Again, still preview, is not considered as a GA, not a general availability yet, okay? So as you can see, there you go. They should create one screen for you. That's the app. And you know what? I can actually now try to click run, and the app is running. So I can click this product, this product. This is actually product that was stored in my table. And I can actually click new here, click new, and I can create a new record, new color, let's say purple. Okay, that's how you spell purple. And you can see quantity maybe 10, price maybe let's say $9.99. Category is accessories. Product name is whatever rubbish here. Product ID, supposedly to generate product IDs, but I don't know what kind of ID. I'm just putting 999. Price based no need. I'm just gonna click submit. So you can see that the record is already submitted right now here. Okay. So you can see that the app is a full-blown app. It is actually running, right? And at the same time, right, what do you want to do? You can see they suggested to add a text label, add an email screen. You can add a new screen to do something. You can describe what you want to do with the app. The basic app that it generated for me is only a single screen. If you're lazy to click new screen, blank one, or whatever you want, you can still do so, having 100% control in your hands, or you can say add a new blank screen. Okay, let's say add a new screen. Maybe I just don't want it to be blank entirely. I say add a new screen, okay, using the same, or not using, I say applying the same um, screen containers as the first screen. Okay, let's see whether they have this ability, because I've actually stress test so much on Copilot. Many of the prompts doesn't work yet, but I'm just trying a very basic one. I've tried typing in huge prompts that Copilot actually get confused. What am I talking about? You know, because still I am struggling myself to make my prompts a bit tighter, because as a prompt engineer, I tend to think too much. I tend to write very complicated stuff because I've been with ChatGPT for a year itself, a year or so. So I got used to ChatGPT. So they're trying to add a new screen. I can't guarantee that this will work, because I tried to even add much complex, much complicated. See, sorry, something went wrong. Would you please try again? So I just say that, yeah, try again. I don't know whether it's internet connection or whether it's really not able to do so. Yeah, I can't do that because it doesn't seem related to Power Apps. Adding a new screen doesn't seem to be related to Power Apps. Oh, blow me away, man. So maybe I just say, what about add a new blank screen? Now, this is so short and so direct. So I've spoken to some Microsoft people. Yeah, see, I add a blank screen, no problem. So sure, this screen was changed, right? This change was made, added a new screen. And I've spoken to some Microsoft people, and they say that usually transition for people who started with ChatGPT into Copilot is very, very difficult, because from very complicated mindset and very long-winded typing, now you have to streamline it lower. Why? Because you cannot put everything into one prompt. You got to structure it. You see, just now what I did, right, was add a new screen that applies the same design or same container from the first screen. That's too much for it to digest. So I rather start add a new blank screen. Now, once you got a blank screen, now what's next step? You got to break it down into step by step. Okay. So I just say copy the container from main. I need to point to the name, main screen one. So main screen one. Okay. And paste it in screen one. Hopefully this is not going to be too much, right? Because it is still considered very straightforward. I'm not so sure how much the Copilot can understand. I have stress test so much on Copilot. See, I'm not able to help with that and all that. See, look at that. So far, right, it is still not beautiful in the sense that I cannot copy and paste something there. So maybe now I can just say add a button. You see, I just click on add a button. Whatever they suggest there, just say add a button. Now they can add a button. Now, if I say move the button to the center, I'm not so sure whether they can do that. Move the button to align center. These are words they can find on Power Apps. Yeah, it's Sangeeta, you're right. You know, it's actually going to process one simple task at a time. See, I say that, sure, this was made, align change for button one. So align to the center, but it's not aligned. Okay. So I was thinking of the button go to the center, right? So maybe, okay, position the button to bottom center. Bottom center. Okay. So you got to move it one by one. But you know what? I have demonstrated this to, you see, it's not really, it's still a bit handicapped, So I've actually quite demonstrated this to some of my Power Platform attendees during my training. When I've got extra time, I just showcase to them. Some of them says that, hey, if I just want to align the button to the center, I just drag. What for? I going to type and type and type so much, and then at the end, right, waiting for the filler doesn't give me anything. So I'm sure you guys would agree. Certain of these tasks, right, it's, well, unless it's very complex. For example, like I want to generate a Power FX formula at the top. I want Copilot to help me draft a sample Power FX formula. When I click the button, it should actually trigger a Power Automate flow, let's say. Now then, okay, no problem, right? But if you talk about like the design, like moving and setting property, and then maybe like changing the fill color of the button, I might as well do it myself. Why should I type so much? Okay. Yeah, so that's the reason why that some people still take the design based on Copilot a bit too nasty, I would say. It's not really worthwhile. For example, change the button fill color, or maybe not say fill, change the button fill to yellow. Let's see whether this can be done. Because fill is a property name. Yeah, okay, this is no problem because this is direct. So it does change it to yellow, right? Yeah, yep. Yes, you are right, okay, Sangeeta, because like I say, Copilot are more geared towards functionality when you're already inside your Canvas App Studio. But when you begin, yes, like I say, Copilot so far is good for doing heavy lifting or envisioning. You've got a vision that you want to create an app like this. Why is it that my screen is only one screen? Actually, when I started earlier, okay, I should have prompted, create me a 3-screen app or create me an app with 4 screens. You have to explain your prompt and I have to explain what you wanted. Because I just took it for granted as in, I want to create an inventory tracking app. That's it. Because I was told by Microsoft to keep it simple, so I keep it simple, right? And that's the reason why avid prompt engineers in my community, people who are gung-ho on ChatGPT, right? They still find that Copilot is not up to par yet. But Copilot is like an infant. It's just like a 1 year plus ago when ChatGPT just came out, right? But nonetheless, Copilot is a very good advancement. I can say give it half a year or a year more, Copilot will be able to do wonders. Okay, just mark my words. Just watch that. Okay, so it's good to start right now when it is still a baby, just like how I started ChatGPT when it's still a baby. When people all come out to adopt ChatGPT, I'm considered one of the oldies, the veteran, where I can relate my experience and I can teach people the tips and tricks and all that. Okay, so that's Power Apps Copilot so far, what it does. And you can see the branding always has a preview. So always be careful of the word preview. That means nothing can be trusted right now. Okay, so you are using it at your own discretion. Okay. Now, Microsoft hasn't really announced when would Copilot be made GA to all the regions. Right now, you can see they're only making it available for United States region. So that is how you know it's not going to be generally available yet. So if one day Copilot, right, will be made vastly available for all their Power Platform customers, that means any environment in any region will have Copilot deployed. Right now, they only deploy to the United States. So that's the reason why you cannot see Copilot if your environment is not in United States. Okay. So I'm going to click back and I'm going to don't save. Now let me show you Power Automate. So Power Automate, the way to create a flow, it's the same thing. Okay. What you can do right now, if I go to flows, which I can see Power Automate as well, but the flows here is to look at all your flows, but from the screen of Power Apps. Because Power Apps and Power Automate are sibling, they're close sibling. They're integrated together. So, but you don't see that, Copilot thingy. even new flow here, right? You can see, well, I can describe to design it and all that. But it will make more sense if I go to Power Automate. So I click on Power Automate and I go to make.powerautomate.com. So based on the environment webinar, you can see here, if you are not in a US region, it will be something like this. See, if I switch back to my Asia region, ooh, see, they got confused right now. Even if I switch back to my Asia region, apparently, oh, my Power Automate is still available with Copilot. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't lie to me. Come on. I think the web is just slow. So look at that. I don't have Copilot, but if I switch to webinar, which is in the environment in US, I've got Copilot here. So they'll give you some sample prompts like every month, copy all files from OneDrive folder to another OneDrive folder, or copy all rows from Excel to another Excel, or when a new item is created in SharePoint, send me an email. So it's just using words to describe roughly the outcome or what you want your flow to be. And the rough design will be given to you. So I'll just show you, for example, here. I just click one of the suggested prompt. And you can see that once I prompted, when a new item is created in SharePoint, send me an email. So this is going to be the suggested flow. There'll be a trigger, which is a SharePoint trigger. An item is created, and the action is just send an email. Okay. So I can say show a different suggestion. You can click on this, in which they will show a different suggestion where they read your profile first, then only send an email. Okay. So the first draft is without reading your user profile from O365. But the second draft, you can see they will create a connection to O365 users and then send you an email. So if this is what you want, you just click on next. And you can see these are all the three connectors that they're going to use: a SharePoint, O365 user profile connectors, and also Office 365 Outlook. Right? So if you're satisfied, just click on Create Flow. Now, you know today, right, Power Automate Flow has a new modern designer. This designer is much, much, much more streamlined. This is the new designer. If you turn it off, I say save and switch. Oh, I can't switch because switch without saving. Okay, switch without saving. When you switch over, right, since I didn't save, you can see, look at that. This is the old designer where it took a lot of space. I know I have this challenge every time I train Power Automate when it's based on the old designer. Some people who came to my training with a smaller 13-inch laptop, the screen space is so small, they ended up scroll up and down, left and right, and even you have to collapse the sidebar to show and see more of your designer canvas. But like I say, the new designer, if I switch it on back on, okay, the new designer is much better. Okay, so you can see that you can click on, okay, to actually show the information rather than expanding here. So they show the information, what's inside on the sidebar. So when I click on get my profile, you can set all your parameters, your settings and all that, and send an email. It's going to be here, draft your email. And also one more thing, it's your dynamic content. So when you click on some of the things, like for example, sending an email, when you click inside here, your dynamic content is now streamlined to be just a small itsy bitsy button at the side. So for example, I can click on FX, that's your expression, right? Or you can switch back to a dynamic content here, okay? Or you can just close it, okay? And you want to launch it again, you can just pop. So it all has been cleaned up, okay? They are redesigned to an interface that uses pop-ups and flyouts. So it's much more refined, okay? So you can see that the grid, right, okay, allows you to move around like this better, rather than so rigid, you have to scroll up, down, left, right. Now you can actually look at the designer much better, okay? So we can see that the Copilot actually began a new flow for you. And the Copilot here, the panel started here again. So you can still ask questions and describe how you want to change the flow. So as you can see, right, the flow right now is like this. So maybe after sending an email, right, okay, I also want to add, maybe what? Add a step to display a notification, okay, after sending an email. Okay, let's see how they interpret this. I ask them to add a step. There you go. They're able to add a step, I believe. Ooh, nice. Cool. They send a mobile notification. I remember that there's such a connector. There's a step. Okay. And just in case you don't know what else is there, I can see that there are actions here. You see all this star here. When you click on this, you see these are some of the generic, what they call prompts. Suggested prompt, edit flow, explain flow, ask a question, add an action. You can do all that. So even though they don't have the Copilot Lab for Power Platform, remember I showed you the Copilot Lab, the prompt libraries, that's only applicable to business apps like Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, but not for Power Platform like Power Apps and Power Automate. Okay, but I'm pretty sure like, there's actually a guideline. You guys just go online, okay, and try to search for the Microsoft suggested, the Microsoft Copilot. They call it the art and science of prompting. When I read their document, right, the art and science of prompting based on what I studied, my prompt engineering, it's different. It's slightly different. Okay, because Microsoft made it into a very friendly and business-oriented language compared to being a real prompt engineering when we prompt according to the standardized prompt framework. That's pretty much complicated. Okay, even though of course we still use day-to-day language, but the way on how we form our sentences compared to Copilot, it's brief, not short. You don't need to put in so many information in there at one go. You chop it down into small chunks, like what Sangeeta mentioned, right? It is true. You type in a prompt that is to perform one task. Don't think that, okay, now you go swimming, after that you go running, after that you go flying. You have to do it one by one. Swimming first, after that running, then flying. So 3 separate prompts, step by step, rather than you put in everything into one super gigantic prompt. You don't do that, okay, in Copilot. You do that in ChatGPT or Google Bard or whatever, but not in Copilot. Okay, so that's actually Power Automate, where you can just, maybe say that I want to add on an action. Maybe you set this parameter and this and that. So that's your Copilot button here, which is available on and off, right? But surprisingly, Copilot for Power Automate is the first one to launch. As you can see, there's no preview. Copilot for Power Apps, right, is a second. It's still in preview, right? Similar with Copilot for Power BI. Now, a lot of people would have seen Copilot in Power Apps and Power Automate, but not many people have seen Copilot in Power BI. You know what? I think I am proud to say that I'm the only one who knows how to get it up and running. Okay. Now, specifically for this webinar, right, I have set up a Copilot for Power BI demonstration. And this is a very hefty investment. I need to warn you guys, okay? For those of you who have done Power BI and knowing Power BI and still using Power BI, you want Copilot to do Power BI for you. Now, in order for Copilot to be activated in Power BI, you need to follow and meet certain requirements. Number 1, okay, you need to be connected to a premium workspace. Okay, a premium workspace. Now, let me talk about my Power BI. I go to app.fabric.microsoft.com. Okay, I'm going to leave here. You can go to app.powerbi.com, but I go to app.fabric because even though you go to app.powerbi.com, it still relate you to Fabric. So from Fabric, you see you have got all the rest of the pillars like Data Factory, Activator, whatever. But I'm not going to be going so technical into the rest of the data engineering and data science workloads here, right? I train all these anyway, but the thing is that I will go into Power BI. When I launch Power BI, they're going to bring me to my Power BI website. So as you can see here. Now, one thing for sure, I want you to go to workspaces. Now, specifically for this, right, I've got a training workspace. I created a workspace name called training. And look at that. I've got a diamond icon. The diamond icon means it's a premium workspace. Now, speaking of this, right, the licensing of Power BI is very confusing. Power BI is the only one sibling of Power Platform that has nothing to do with Power Apps and Power Automate as that close. Not to say nothing to do. They were not direct sibling. Power BI seems to be a cousin, even though together in Power Platform. Number 1, Power BI doesn't have environment. They call it workspace rather. They are not connected directly to the similar Dynamics 365 environment. If you realize just now, both Power Apps and Power Automate, there is an environment called Webinar that I need to connect. And that environment where is under a Dynamics CRM environment. It's a .crm.dynamics.com URL. But here in Power BI, it's under Fabric. It's a different thing. Okay, that's number one. Number two, okay, Power BI itself, since it's connected and belonging to Fabric, it means, okay, that the licensing is also all differing from Power Apps and Power Automate. Now, let me tell you about the licensing here. When we talk about a premium workspace, this training workspace, let me switch it over. I've got nothing there yet. It's a premium workspace. Now, premium has got two types. You've got PPU, premium per user, okay, which is actually based on user headcount, right? The price is double of Power BI Pro. Power BI Pro is in Ringgit Malaysia, 42 Ringgit per month. So Power BI premium per user, PPU, is 84. Okay, so if you talk quote in US dollar, so we have got international participants here. So it's 10 US dollar per month for Power BI Pro. Power BI premium per user is 20 US dollar, right? Okay. Now Microsoft still standardize it as to Malaysian ringgit currency exchange rate is still 42 ringgit per 10 US dollar. Okay. So, but anyway, Power BI premium per user is not qualified to do Copilot. They need an expensive premium per capacity. This is really, really crazy. Now look at my workspace settings here. When I go to my workspace settings, right, I go to my premium. Look at my premium. My premium, I set it not to pro, but you see, I use Fabric capacity. The premium capacity is one hell of an investment. Now, I know some of you guys here in this webinar, you are from an environment, your organization already got premium capacity. Your company paid a hefty sum for it. If I'm not mistaken, premium capacity, right, based on nodes, you buy P1 node, depending on how many P1 nodes. Each node, right, can cost 20,000 US dollar, okay? Oh, sorry, 5,000 plus to 6,000 US dollars. So 20 over 1,000 is ringgit Malaysia per month, okay? Now, because of Fabric, I can choose Fabric capacity. Now, Fabric capacity is called the F series, it's not the P series. Premium per capacity, right, it's actually the very hefty sum. So here in the Fabric, right, what I'm going to show you, okay? Now, Fabric capacity is what I can subscribe to. But Fabric capacity, if I run my Fabric node on Microsoft Azure, you have to have an Azure subscription. You go to Microsoft Azure, you create a Fabric capacity. Now, the thing is that you think you can choose Fabric capacity, which is the cheapest one. I'm so sorry. Now, listen carefully. In order for Copilot to work, Fabric capacity must choose F64. You must be running on a 64 core Fabric, which if you run this 24/7, 30 days a month, right, it will cost you 10,000 US dollar. But I'm afraid my company, Gemrain Consulting, my Azure subscription is not pay as you go because as a Microsoft partner, I'm given 100 US dollar for training purposes. So I'm using this $100 only a month, and I've got this spending limit. So what I've actually found out is that the Fabric capacity, right, I can turn on, I can turn off. When I turn on, it runs. That's where they consume my charges. But once I finish it, if I'm not using it, I can turn it off. Now, in real world, when it is production, you can't simply turn off the Fabric capacity. So if you keep the Fabric capacity running for the entire 1 month, it will incur up to 10,000 US dollar. Now, let me show you my Azure. I'm not lying to you. I'm just trying to show you here what I have done. Now, while logging into my Azure, I would like to show you. Now you see, I choose Fabric capacity, but everything disabled. Why? You see, the workspace is configured to use a capacity you don't have access to. I don't have access to yet, right? But anyway, I'm going to try to upload one Excel file. Okay, I'm going to create a new, they call it as a semantic model, right? I'm going to upload an Excel file. I'm going to choose the same Excel file that I always conduct in my Power BI class. Let me go into, for example, Where's the file there? Adventure Work Sales Data. This is the one. I'm going to import it. I'm creating my semantic model. Last time used to be called, couldn't find any data formatted as a table. Yeah, because I need it to be a table. Okay, you know what? The best way for me to do is I use Power BI Desktop. I'll just upload the PBIX. So the semantic model previously is known as dataset. Today, just call it semantic model. I don't know why they want to make it such a crafty and technical name. So I'm going to get data from my Excel workbook, my actual Adventure Work Sales data. Okay, open. Okay, I'm going to select all these 4 sheets. I need to load it to become a table. So I've got my 4 tables here, but you know what? I'm not going to build any report here. I just want the 4 tables to be in it. My relationships is all done. Look at that. My semantic model, the relationships are all completed. No problem at all, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this file. I'm going to save it into, look at this. I've conducted a training for FNN before. So now desktop here, right? I'm just going to save it. I just call it webinar demo.pbix. I just save. Now, as I save, right, even though I've got 1-page report here, I'm going to keep it blank and I'm going to publish it. Now, when I publish, right, I'm going to publish it to my training workspace, which is supposed to be a premium workspace. Select. Okay, it says couldn't publish because you see, I told you, they know that my workspace is a premium capacity workspace, but it cannot be refreshed because why? My fabric is down because I turn it off, or else I'll be consuming charges. You see, so I go back to my Azure right now. I'm just going to show you. I've created on my Azure here GRC. This is actually my resource group. There you go. This is my fabric capacity in Southeast Asia. I call it GRC fabric. And look at my fabric here. My SKU, I have to choose F64. You see, if I click on the capacity here, I can actually change the size of my fabric. Look at this. F64, I told you, is $10,000 a month. It's 43,000 MYR, Malaysia ringgit a month, estimated. You know what? I have to choose this. I thought that I can choose F2, which is very cheap, 1,000 ringgit a month, which I can survive. But the thing is that the requirement for Copilot to be available in Power BI, you must have F64 minimum, which is 64 capacity units. So I've got no choice. I got to select this, And the only thing right now is once I finish my demo, I shut it down. See, it's shut down right now. It's F64. Right now, my spending limit, you see, out of 450 ringgit Malaysia that I have every month, I still have 434 ringgit. I only consumed so far, tens of ringgit only. But whereby I have created this fabric, right, since last month, a long time already, considered a long time. So what I can do right now is I resume my fabric. Because you see, just now it says pause, now I'm resuming it. So I'm going to restart my fabric from my Azure. Then my Power BI workspace is going to be connected to this fabric. So right now it says it's active. One thing I like about the fabric capacity on Azure is that this is actually very fast. It's very fast to bring it up, and it's very fast to bring it down, pause as well. So now I'm going to switch back to my Power BI desktop. Hang on, let me got it first. I would like to ensure that on my Power BI website, my training workspace is already up and running. Let me go back to my workspaces. I click my training workspace again. I access my workspace settings in my premium. Oh, not yet. Okay, so let me refresh my Power BI workspace. I go back to the settings. Watch this, guys. I'm going to click on premium. There you go. Now it's enabled fabric capacity, and you can see that my license capacity is pointing to the same name of my GRC fabric just now, Southeast Asia. They know that. Okay, I'm going to choose my storage is small model because I only upload Excel files. Okay, that's it. My workspace is back up and running. Now watch this. I am going to publish again. I'm going to click on training and select. Now they should be able to publish it. No problem. Just now I got an error. Now I got no error. So that's the only sad news, guys. If you want Copilot for Power BI, you have to have all these premium stuffs. So got it. I've successfully published it. Let me close this. Now back to here in my training workspace, I refresh. I would have, look at that, a report, and I've got the semantic model. The report is something that I don't need. I'm going to delete the report, leaving only the model. I only need the model. The report is a blank page anyway. Now let me show you Copilot, guys. The only way to do it right is you can start with triple dot. You can see something called auto create report. Automatically, they scan your data, they will generate a basic report for you. Let me click auto create report. You can pre-select the data, or they will just be based on the entire semantic model. See, your report is ready. I'm going to view the report now. Look at that. This is Copilot, guys. They have generated exactly a default report, all filled with line charts, based on all these tables here. Now, the beauty part of it is I need to edit the report. If you don't like it, this is published right now. I can edit live on the web browser. Your Copilot is not yet available in the desktop because Copilot must be done on the web. It must be live. Copilot cannot run on an offline set of semantic model. Because if you use your Copilot desktop, right, you are not actually connected live. Your semantic model is not yet a semantic model. It's just a data model locally on your computer, okay? So now when I click on edit here, right, I just click on continue. So now watch this. When I switch to here, ladies and gentlemen, I can see my Copilot already. You can't have this button if you don't have the premium capacity. So when I click on Copilot, watch this, it's getting things ready. You know what? If I turn off my Fabric, I will see, Copilot is not available because you must have a semantic model placed in a workspace that meets the capacity or something like that. Now I can have Copilot. Look at that. It is still in preview as well. Okay. So we can see Copilot running, and now you know the requirements. You must fulfill minimum. I'm showing you my minimum requirements here, right? We at Gemini Consulting, we are not a huge conglomerate and all that. So the only way, right, is that I have to really spend money to actually build, at least meet the minimum F64 Fabric capacity. Then I have actually done successfully a test in here, okay? So what I can do is that I can create a page that shows this. I can actually describe something, or maybe I can actually say that change something or add a new calculation, So describe the report you want or select the prompt. So I can say, select the prompt guide. So suggest content for this report or create a page that shows what. So I can click create a page that shows. Okay, a new page, this page one, right? Okay, create a new page that shows sales amount by country, okay, using a map visual. Let's say, for example, I don't have a map here. So can I see a real page added into my Power BI? It says, cannot directly create visuals or specify the type of visual to use. Okay. You see, certain things that is not applicable yet. So even though Copilot, right, is available, but this preview is less than whatever preview that you have seen. So quite a lot of capabilities that has been envisioned, but it's not yet rolled out to me, right? So possibly also due to the fact that I just only started the Fabric, and yeah. So I can get suggestion content for this report. I can get it to suggest content. And some of the content, if let's say there are extra visuals, maybe it can be placed. But I remember I played around with it before where I can add a new visual. As you can see, product sales performance, create a page that analyzes sales amount, quantity, and margin. They can do that, you see. So, okay, I'll just click on create. There are a few more, you see, customer segmentation and loyalty, sales territory analysis, or maybe the sales territory. I want to click create here. When I click create, you can see that their prompt, it's good. You see, it's very long. And they say that it can't create a visual, but apparently it's just to create a page right now, and the visual is auto-suggested. So let's see whether using their own prompts, it should be working because I'm using their prompts and their own suggestion. So they'll analyze your data, and they're just gonna, you can just ask Copilot to help suggest some insights, and just ask it to add on. But by all means, go ahead. You can actually, there you go, no problem. This is my sales performance here with the map, right? Just now page one was this was auto-generated. And by all means, go ahead if you want to actually change it. I remember that I've seen before they use Copilot, right, to mention to change the visual, but I just don't know whether it is, apparently it still can't be done, This one you have to click on triple dot yourself, and then I think the insights can be changed. Click on here and you can just choose whatever visualization. I believe, right, that your tenant settings must also be turned on with modern visual, the one-click interaction. A lot of preview features must be turned on before you can enjoy some extra Copilot settings. Maybe I've turned off a lot of all these, some of the settings. But yeah, I've added a new page, which they have added here. Look at that. Let me explain. This is actually based on their suggestion. And if I want other suggestions, for example, product sales performance, I can click create again, right? So they'll add on the page on top of all the pages that you have. All right, so this by far most is how maximum I can show you how to enable and also get Copilot for Power BI. So not many people knows how to get this out, because I've been with with Power BI for, I don't know, for ages, since the inception of or the introduction of Power BI. So I always follow all the news, and since generative AI exploded into Microsoft, so of course these are things that you need to understand. Okay. Yep. So you can see that I've added product sales analysis page, and now since we are ending already, we have reached the end. I would like to do a summary, a quick summary for what you guys have actually seen. Right? All in all, two big portions of Copilot for Microsoft 365. Number one, Copilot for Microsoft 365 apps, right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Teams, or Loop, or Whiteboard, or whatever, okay? Plus the second segment here, Copilot for Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, okay? I didn't even have time to actually showcase to you Power Virtual Agent, which is effectively today, right, called Copilot Studio, where you can build your own custom Copilot. That one is going to be a separate course, which I intend to come up with as well, right? But anyway, I don't have time to showcase that. Now, all in all, what you guys have realized, there's a common pattern based on what I've demoed. Do you know what is the common pattern? All the demos I've shown you, right, is to achieve one thing only, which is the initial heavy lifting. After you got the initial heavy lifting done for you by the AI, Copilot give you the initial content. Then after that, you can just go and proceed to amend or customize or change or whatever. Okay. Copilot, right, especially for Power Platform, is still a bit weak in a sense of using it directly to modify the design and all that. And you guys also realize that modifying designs using Copilot is like a waste of time, because you spend a lot of time figuring out the prompt and then typing it. I might as well use the time, right, to manually click here, drag here, and I'm done. All right. So this is also good news, okay, that people don't rely heavily on Copilot, thinking that, oh, in the future, I don't need to learn this, I don't need to know this, I don't need to know that. I can get Copilot to help me do everything. No such thing, guys. We are not up to that era yet. Okay, we don't have Skynet yet. Okay. So remember, Copilot is just our Copilot, right? Even though I'm talking about Copilot, but who's the pilot? You are the pilot. Copilot is just your assistant. Who is flying the plane? You are flying the plane, right? So Copilot is just there to help you, kickstart something, instead of you sitting in front of the blank piece of paper, scratching your head how to start. Because a lot of people always have got this challenge, starting. Starting is very, very difficult. But once you got at least some sample content out on the paper, oh yeah, now I get it. Then you can start, the engine starts running. You get what I mean? So Copilot's job is for that, so that it saves a lot of head scratching time, shaking leg time, or, looking left, looking right time. So get AI, get your Copilot to help you start. And then after that, you grab back the steering wheel. That's what Microsoft Copilot has to offer as of now. Okay, as of now. Right? So the future of Microsoft Copilot, from the way I see it, okay, based on what Microsoft has announced, because I follow Microsoft very closely, right? I'm a member of the Insider as well. So Windows Copilot, yeah, look at this. My Copilot here, this one is still a stupid Copilot here with a here, still preview. All right, and it says Bing. Now that means you are still accessing this Copilot at the same place as your web version of Copilot. You know what? Like, for example, if you try, at first, what I was thinking about and what Microsoft envisioned, the Windows Copilot that builds into your Windows is to help you do all the lifting, heavy lifting. For example, you don't know how to reduce your screen brightness. So you just type there, reduce my screen brightness. Okay. And you think that while clicking the submit button, right, it's going to automatically help reduce the screen brightness? No. It's going to say, here it will be the information on how to reduce your screen brightness. They just show you information or where is a setting. You yourself must go to the setting and do it. You understand me? See, sure, I can help you. Then go to settings. They advise you where to do it, but they're not going to do it themselves. You see, they're just showing you where it can be done. So the actual plan, the intention, okay, for Microsoft to position Copilot for Windows is that using Copilot is going to do everything. It's going to configure and tweak the settings for you and all that. Now, the new Windows 11 23H2, if I'm not mistaken, the update has introduced voice access for you. So that means that you can operate your operating system by just talking to your Windows. It's not like Cortana last time. For those of you who still remembers Cortana, right? So today, right, whereby the voice access is whereby the microphone is turned on continuously, and you can just talk to it and say that launch Excel, write this, write that, click on the start button, look for Windows PowerShell, launch Windows PowerShell, something like that. You see, you give command by talking to it, right? So as you can see right now, they told me this. 10 minutes left in your meeting. Ask Copilot for notes and actions items to help you wrap things up. See, I can say open Copilot here, and they will show me that generate meeting notes. Copilot can do that. They know that it's 10 minutes left in my meeting. Quickly now launch Copilot, and they automatically generate meeting notes for me. I still find Copilot for Teams is really, really productive. Okay. I remember that there's one tool out there called Sybil, Sybill, right? Sybil.ai. Some people call it Sybil. No, it's pronounced as Sybil. Sybill, Sybil.ai is a paid platform that allows you to integrate to your Teams or Zoom or whatever it is for collaboration, for meetings and all that. But now with Copilot for Teams, I don't need to pay for Sybil. All right. So as you can see, these are all the meeting notes which they generated. Right. So this is actually super cool. I like this. Okay. And yeah, that's suddenly because Copilot prompts me to do that. So I was thinking to show you guys, right? But like I said, the future of the Copilot in Windows, right, is to do that. And you guys heard of Microsoft wanted to add a new Copilot button to the keyboards and all that. I don't know how many OEMs, laptop manufacturers they have talked to, but enough of that start button we have on the keyboard. Now they're going to add another Copilot button just to fire up Copilot. Okay, but Microsoft has actually promised, okay, a fully AI operated OS, which is upcoming. I don't know whether Windows 12 is going to be there, but they said that Windows 12 envisioning is there already. Just when last time Microsoft promised that there isn't going to be another Windows. I still remember they say Windows 10 is going to be the last one, then Windows 11. Then after that, they say Windows 11 is going to be the last Windows. But no, there's still going to be an upcoming Windows 12 coming soon. And this is, they claim to be AI powered, a full AI powered operating system. They can actually suggest what you do. When you click and do something on your Windows, right, they will tell you, hey, it looks like you want to do this, right? Let me show you. Let me help you. It's like, that means that when you click on A, B, they say, hey, looks like you want to type CD. They will automatically type CD for you. So that's what the future of Windows is going to be. Okay. And I heard that they are bringing back Windows 7, One stupid news, okay, is that the Windows 7 of Windows 11 edition. So that's why up on the internet, right, a lot of people are cracking the joke, Windows 7.11. So 7-Eleven people are going to be there, cracking the joke up. So that means they are reviving Windows 7 with the Windows 11 type of interface. So they call it Windows 7.11. All right, but yeah, don't think that I'm lying or whatever. You just go out there and check it out. There is actually a Windows 7 revival, a revisit of Windows 7, but using Windows 11 interface. Okay, but I'm not so sure whether that is going to be the prototype, okay, of how Windows 12 is going to look like. Okay, so that's actually promise of Microsoft to bring AI into every product. But as they start bringing AI into every product, it seems like they are starting to confuse a lot of people. So that is why I hope that this webinar has kind of like shown you some demo and cleared some of the confusion or whatsoever. Okay, so this is just a sneak peek, right, of what we are having here. Okay, so it's time also. Okay, I still have a little bit of time there whereby any one of you guys have any other questions, you can start typing it in there. While I would like cooperation from you all to, hang on, let me just do something here. Let me launch something. I would like to give you guys a QR for you guys to scan. Just give me a moment. Okay, this is the QR code. Now, this QR, right, it's actually for you guys to voice any interest for a Copilot, future Copilot training course, because I'm in the midst of crafting that out. So you can just fill it up, if you are interested, then we will be updating you very soon once the course is released. It's just for us to contact you if you have special, if you think that, I would like to go dive deeper into understanding Copilot together with exercises and all that. Okay. So for those of you who can't really scan the code, well, my marketing personnel has already added into the meeting chat. You can check out in the meeting chat. There's a link to go to our office forms. Okay. So I've actually created this two separate course there. One, I've branded it as Copilot for Microsoft 365 apps. The other one is Microsoft Copilot for Power Platform. Right. So you can voice your interest in whichever one or both. Right. Now, the only challenge right now is you can't go into a Copilot training, right, when you don't have the license. That's the only thing, because we at GenRain, we don't have extra licenses to assign to our attendees, right? Because Copilot licenses, as you know, it's pretty expensive, right? And Microsoft don't give out trials, right? So the only thing that I can come up with, right, is also what we call Copilot difference between Copilot and Copilot Pro. But that also requires you to have a Copilot Pro account. Like Copilot Pro, it is also paid. And most of the time, in order for you to establish Copilot Pro with your Office 365, right, is that your own Microsoft personal account, you yourself must have paid and bought the Microsoft 365 personal. And then again, you also need to pay for Copilot. So Copilot Pro is $20, right? Now, let me kind of like show you what is the pricing like, okay, for Office products. Let's say Office or Microsoft 365 pricing. Okay, so now if I'm comparing this, now this is in US dollar, okay, since buying Copilot, you cannot use localized ringgit Malaysia and all that. It will bring you to the Microsoft United States store and pay $20 US. So you see, the personal is the cheapest. This is paid yearly. If you want to pay per month, because Copilot Pro is paid per month. The Pro, you don't pay annually. You can pay per month. But if you pay yearly, you save 16%. But if you pay monthly, right, it's actually $7 a month. Can you imagine? This is the minimum you need for Copilot Pro to integrate. Can you imagine? Copilot Pro is much more expensive than the cheapest Microsoft 365 Personal, right? So even family for up to 6 people, right, it's $10 a month. Personal, only one person for yourself, is actually $7 a month. So can you see this, give or take? You need to pay $27 a month for the complete Copilot Pro on your own personal Microsoft 365. Okay, but if your organization, you are part of an organization who already got Copilot for Microsoft 365 Enterprise or whatever subscription you have in your business, now then you can actually opt to attend our future Copilot training. Right, so I'm going to have separate courses, one to focus on only Power Platform, one for Copilot business apps. But for the Power Platform, right, okay, it's not going to be so soon because of the preview. The Copilot is still being updated, right? Except for Copilot for Power Automate, which is already rolled out. But both Copilot for Power Apps and Power BI, it's still in preview. And nonetheless, I also would like to come up with a course on building custom Copilots using Copilot Studio, right? Okay, would like to understand what is sufficient for E3 license, especially Copilot for O365. Okay, remember, even though it's Office 365, but today everything is called Microsoft 365. You have to understand, okay, that what you are asking, right, is exactly what I'm having here in GemRain. Now, in GemRain, right, we started with Office 365 E3, okay? What makes the difference? Because people are confused. You see, I told you, Microsoft is an expert in confusion. When they rebrand Office 365 to Microsoft 365, what's the difference? If you compare neck to neck, Office and Microsoft 365, O and M 365, it's actually the same in terms of business apps. But M365 has extra Windows license. That's it. All right. This is for the enterprise level, whereby it's not just for licensing your business applications, but all the computers in your organization, the Windows license, it's managed together. That's M365. But even though my company do not have Windows license managed from Microsoft 365, but when you go to the admin center, they still brand it as Microsoft 365. Okay, but they allow Office 365 E3 to get Copilot. Okay, so let me kind of show you right now. I go to my admin center. I don't mind showing you that. If you're just, oh yeah, one more thing. Wait, I pause my fabric first. Ooh, I don't want to continue talking while the fabric is still running. Luckily, I can see my fabric here. Let me pause my fabric. Okay, so now let me show you in my billing here, my licenses. Now, these are all the licenses in my organization. Now, you can see that I've got Power Apps for developer. Now, you can see that I've got Office 365 only. It's O365, but I can still buy Microsoft Copilot for M365. They don't have Copilot for Office. They don't use the word Office anymore. So Copilot is just for Microsoft 365. Even though your license is still Office 365, doesn't matter. Remember, I told you January 15, just last month, January 15, they announced the removal of the minimum, the MOQ of 300 seats. That is when they open up for even business premium, business, not just for enterprise, business as well as even personal and family also can buy Copilot, right? But personal and family subscription, you can buy Copilot Pro. This Copilot for Microsoft 365 is minimum business standard, business essential, business premium, all the way to enterprise, E1, E3, E5, no problem. They have opened up to all Office as well as Microsoft 365. Okay, so that's the licenses that you need. Once you deploy the license, you can see there's a separate Copilot segment in your admin. That is if you're the administrator. So from here, right, I can actually see what are the settings for each of that. For example, Copilot in Bing, Edge, and Windows, right? And then I've got this data security and compliance I can manage, right? So you see when I go into here, you can see you can effectively implement sensitivity labels, retention policies, audit, So Microsoft Purview is actually the product that manages compliance and security. But anyway, Copilot, they are protecting all your data within your tenancy, and it's not going to leak out to the public internet. Okay. Yeah, so that's the answer for your questions. If you want to get Copilot, like I said, Copilot, if you don't have a company, let's say you're personal, but as long as you have a Microsoft 365 personal, you just buy Copilot Pro. Right? You will get equivalent, okay, all the Copilots, which is sufficient for you to attend the training.